You're on.
All right, back on the record, Wednesday, July the 29th, 1:07 PM, back from lunch. Everybody try to stay awake. But we're gonna kick back off with the clerk's office. Are we doing clerk or are we doing election first? Election board first, if you guys wanna find that,
Same thing.
which is second page under her.
Oh, it's still under clerk, just under the.
For the election, anybody that doesn't know, the election board members are
I'm Dylan Baker.
And I'm Jessica,
representing the Democrat Party.
Yes.
and Jessica Jones representing the Republican Party.
And Michelle Shelton, who is our elected clerk. So for anybody that don't know, that is your election board. Welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Let's talk budgets for 2027.
Okay, well, if you guys are okay with it, because I know we've got a couple, are you guys okay if we start with the election board?
Let's do the,
Is it the Coon Cap? Okay, yeah, the Coon Cap development one.
Give me 2 seconds.
You are fine.
Oh.
It's Heather.
Coon Cap development.
Oh, I don't know the answer. She ain't trying to get in, I don't know. I think it just says Coon Cap Development.
Yeah.
Yes.
It says all zeros here, so that ought to be pretty.
It's got all zeros except for the
Till
back
you
page.
turn
It's
it
got
on.
one
The
really
back
large
page.
number.
The back page. Oh.
And this one is going to sort of go hand in hand with the Election Administration Assistance Fund because they're basically for the same thing, but we want to explain that.
John, we just got started. You ain't missed anything yet. Hey, John, should the lights be on that one?
They weren't earlier.
Oh.
I
Michelle explained
can
this
give
to
this
me
one.
earlier,
Yeah.
but can you explain it again?
Yeah,
IT.
but we've got, because we've actually got breakdowns and everything so that we can explain in detail.
All right,
Okay.
Terry to it.
So in this budget, you will see that the only thing we are asking for is a very large number of $182,444.15. This is for new microvote DREs. DREs are the voting election machines. Our current machines are 25 years old and have been obsoleted. We are under a federal mandate that we have been under since starting 2022 to upgrade our machines by 2028. The cost of a machine is $2,800 each machine. The requirement on the number of machines that we are required to have is set by federal and state mandates off of the census numbers for our community. So with that, we are required to have at a minimum, because we are vote centers, so it's less than what it would be if we were still on the individual precincts. We're required to have at a minimum 65 machines at a cost of $2,800 per machine. The current lead time for us to order these machines is
24 to 38 weeks.
28 to 34 weeks. So we're looking at pretty much 6 to 7 months to get them.
Upon chip production, and that is the update today from Microvote. I don't know.
So if you ordered them 6 months minimum, but we don't have chips, is that right?
So this is, like I said, 28 to 34 weeks depending on chip production. So if they're getting them out sooner.
How many do we have right now? Machines?
65.
We have, okay. And we use, depending on the election, but let's say the presidential's the biggest.
The presidential is the biggest, and that's the one that would require us to have 65.
2 years.
So that's when deadline is, that's go time.
Yes.
All right.
And with that, that fee includes the removal and the recycling of the machines because they do have voter information on them. There is a federal law on how those have to be destroyed. And so that's the company doing that. That's the company doing the program. That's all the tally cards, all the equipment that we would need with that. With that, and why I say that this also goes in with that election administration assistance fund. That fund has $5,600 in it, and we have presented that. That fund is actually set up by state statute that is governed by us for us when we collect fines for late campaign fees or filing reports, things of that nature. We have never done anything with that. We can only use it for election supplies and materials to run election. We have 5,600 in that. We would like to ask that we had that appropriated to purchase 2 of these machines, so that 182,000 that would be coming from your guys's or from the Coon Cap would be for the other 63 machines. So that's what that is on, and I don't know if there's anything that anybody else would like to add to that.
It's just a simple thing of they're not in production anymore, we don't have parts for them. We have had to do repairs to the machines. This past election in 24, we had to have 4 machines fixed and stuff along those lines. In the primary, we had 5 machines on election day that didn't work, and my correct technician had to go out and work on them. So, I mean, we are starting to see the fact that they are
Deteriorating.
they're in their last legs.
Where's that 5,700? Which one? is
The
that?
election.
Election administration.
Yes. So, I mean, and that is the thing that we're just.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
approve that.
So how much are these new machines a piece? 2,800?
Yes.
What's the rest of the money for? Because if we're buying 63 of them, that's 176,400.
So, removal and recycling for the Infinity dump machines is $59.15. Travel for the recycling within the company from them to take them is $350. $50 per hour charge for recycling is $35.
So if you buy $176,000 worth of equipment, they won't take your old stuff.
That is the fees that they get charged from the recycling.
Can we recycle them at our recycling?
So this is the thing, when we had to, if you remember when we had the DD packs, the big cases, and we got the new cases, we had the hardest time finding somebody who would take the things to recycle them. But because these are the actual machines and not like the cases, they have to be recycled a specific way. I will have to come to the commissioners to decommission these machines, and they have to follow the recycling and decommission per state statute.
Once decommissioned, can you sell them like on gov deals or something, or try to?
I do not know that question. I do not know that they can be sold since they don't have production or the stuff to keep replacing the parts. I don't know.
It's part of recycling, recovering all the information off of them too.
So there's actually no information stored on the machines. It is, the way I would describe the machines is they're like a giant calculator. And every year when they get programmed with the ballots, the information goes on a tally card, and then every year they are completely erased for the next year. So there's not actual information stored on it that would be kept within the machines.
Right, okay.
But because they are election equipment, we have to follow guidelines of how to destroy them, how to decommission them, and stuff like that. That's a great question. Never thought about selling decommissioned. I know that there is the big election machine that we had that was in the hallway for the clerks, or the courthouse, where everyone's, it's like a giant.
Big thing.
And we tried to get that decommissioned and give it to the historical museum for them to have it, and the state denied us to do that. They're still here.
I love how the state.
Now, I will say since then, because of us trying to get it to, there has been legislation where we can have historical stuff that does go to historical museums and stuff where legislation has changed to do that. But at the time we were doing it, they said no, we couldn't. But things have changed now. But I've never had anybody ask if we could sell the machines like that.
On this money for these voting machines, if you went to, I think we talked to the city of Austin, the city of Scottsburg is going to pitch in and pay for some of these.
So municipal elections, in the municipal elections, the cities have to pay a portion of the election cost incurred in that year. I have sent the city of Scottsburg and the city of Austin the cost of the new machines and have told them that they need to budget, that the county potentially could be buying machines and that will room out to that cost. But yes.
How much is their percentage on that, you know? How much is their percentage of that? Will
So,
that have to pay?
75% of the municipal and the county holdings for the municipal primary election and the municipal, election years. So,
So the 75% split between the two cities? Is that accurate to say?
Yeah.
Since we have two vote centers that cover.
yes, there's a form that we have to fill out and it's split 3 ways. So if you're looking at it, like, if it's the election, just simple numbers cost, $75. County would cover around 25, city of Boston would cover around 25, city of Scottsburg would cover around 25. So that is the conglomerate.
Do you feel like they're gonna be able to do that, or is that law, they gotta do that?
And yes, in the municipal election year, yes, and they have both been sent the cost of the new machines.
So just to wrap my head around, if we spend 182,444, 75% of that's like 136-ish. They're gonna split the 136 and we're gonna pay the rest. I'm understanding.
It would be split within 3.
So it's, yeah. So it's more like 33% roughly,
Right.
wherever that averages out to be. You gotta
So
calculate
182,444,
divided by 3.
33, $60,000 a piece. 60,206.20, 52 to be exact.
So that would help our bottom line on that.
If you guys, and this is the thing is you guys get to decide on how this is done. It's, if you guys want to do a lump sum purchase, if you guys want to do a contract that's spread out, and there's multiple ways that we can purchase these things. We can do lump sum, we can do 2 years.
On a lump sum, then the cities would have to pay their proportion. If you do it on a contract, they could say, well, they might not want to pay all that.
They pay for whatever was purchased within, whatever the
year.
expense was within the municipal election.
The cities pay in advance, I mean, they don't pay after.
They pay 90, they pay within the primary election and they pay within the general of the primary election, or the municipal elections. They pay twice. They pay for the primary and they pay for the general.
But on
election.
equipment, I think what you're asking, John,
Yeah.
if they would pay in that calendar year.
Yes.
So
It wouldn't be a reimbursement.
saying you're bought in 27, that's the expense is 2027. Within that calendar year, they have to pay their portion of the expense. That's a good way to put it.
And I spoke with Jan, who was with Scottsburg, and I spoke with Chris and sent them and said, we are gonna have to get new machines, so be prepared that potentially, depending on what you guys decide to do and how you guys decide to do whatever.
So
it's
if we bought them,
an bigger cost.
All right. Here's my, on the next.
Could be worse.
Where are we going now? That, Election.
For the county election board budget.
because the assistance fund, we're just putting it on equipment line or the microvote DRE.
Yes.
Do you want to change that line instead of saying microvote to equipment? And then if that doesn't pan out, you need to buy something else that's available while we're budgeting money,
Well, it can only be spent on
equipment.
equipment or,
Anything to do with elections.
But if you decide for some ungodly reason to not buy microvote DREs, and that's what that line says, back to the drawing board.
well, we're in contract with them for the next 4 years.
All right, if you like it, I like it. Moving along.
I mean, so that's my thing, is like, we're in contract with them until 2028, so. But give me 2 seconds, let me read the IC code one more time.
And if we want to change it from being labeled as microvote DREs to saying just equipment, because if it's labeled as microvote DREs, then it can only be spent on microvote DREs. If we were to change to a different company, we wouldn't be able to spend that without asking for it to be changed, because we have it changed for microvote. So that's what she's asking is, do we want to change it to the, and that's what he's asking to change it to.
Okay, so we are in a contract with them
We are.
until 20, like an inside contract.
You can still spend it, but it just gives you more options in case you didn't want to use that company.
Was it just general or?
I don't see a problem changing the wording to equipment, but that's your guys'.
Yeah, well, it just covers everyone's budgets a little bit, so I'm fine with
That's
that.
fine.
Jennifer, will you make that change on their budget just to change it on that? Yeah, just put it as the equipment,
No,
just in case something.
Yeah,
were to-
and that's the thing is
and
like,
that's fair, and that saves you all time, and that's time.
Just for some reason, I mean, micro vote goes belly up tomorrow, you're not stuck
Absolutely.
micro vote 2 or whatever it's called tomorrow. All right. Next up is the county election board fund.
Okay, on this, do you want us just to start at the top and work our way down?
That's fine.
Okay. So the first three on there is the board member pay. And we do have, and we can get this to you if you guys want, we do have sort of a breakdown of what that entails. So with this on the budget, we did include a 10% increase in that. That was because we were asked to do so, and so we did do that. That 10% increase is $420 per position for the year. And under that, things have changed over the years drastically, especially since COVID. So just sort of a sum up of some of the things that the board that we are responsible for, of course, is preparing and distributing the ballots. I apologize, I've got a cheat sheet. Preparing and distributing the ballots, and we're gonna, some of this stuff too with the clerk's office falls back on them because there's times that some of this stuff comes up and we have a 24-hour turnaround that we have to get back to. And if they come in at noon on, Monday and we have to have a response out by 4 o'clock on Monday and trying to get, so the clerk is able to handle and take care of that stuff and get that stuff back out, and her chief deputy. Preparing the polling locations. Now on election day, we can help, but a lot of times some of that stuff also falls through the week. And so they are the ones helping with that as well and getting that set up. And then of course, maintaining the voting system. We meet once a month under the Indiana Open Door Law. We do publish everything. We have to hear candidate challenges, hearing challenges. We actually have one coming up. Campaign finance enforcement, disposition of the complaints or anything. And our clerk also does a lot for us on that, as she takes care of preparing the agendas and getting everything posted and making sure that everything is mailed and that we are meeting all of our deadlines and everything as well. And then we have the physical and cybersecurity side, which she takes care of everything, and then we review it, and then she has everything ready for us, and then we submit it. And that cybersecurity is actually where we were talking about the generator earlier, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And then, of course, the poll book maintenance and the voter registration board. So that's just a few of the duties. Of course, we do the poll worker or help lead the poll worker training, which we have 2 different sessions and 2 hours apiece on those, as well as the technician training that goes on after. And then the election days that we're there for 14 to 16 hours. So that's sort of what that pay covers, and just what we're doing with that. And then, and you guys stop me, slow me down, ask questions. I apologize because I'll just run right on through.
Keep rolling.
On the clerk as voter registration, the per diem and the stipend. So you see the IC codes there. So what those are for, the state of Indiana says that there are certain duties that do fall on the county clerk for election. However, there are certain duties that go to the county clerk that she's responsible to do that are not covered by the clerk position, such as the voter registration official. Because of the size of our county, that is a position that the board could choose to hire a person to do, or because of the size of our county, we're allowed to allow the clerk to take on those duties. And if we allow the clerk to take on those duties, we can allow for a per diem and a stipend to cover that versus us paying to hire somebody for that position that would come in a little bit costlier. And those duties are separate from what I had just mentioned as the county election board. So the duties that fall on to that position on that is she has to Of course, maintaining the accurate voter records. There is state law that says that the only person that is allowed to maintain or change certain voter registration records is the county clerk. Then that voter registration board, that even the state doesn't have the right to approve or do that. So that's one of those extra duties that falls there. Because of different deadlines that the state statute or federal statute has set up, there are requirements that for her position as that voter registration clerk, that she has to give up county holidays that you guys have set by federal, because of federal, to be in the office, such as July 3rd is the most recent one that we had, where she was required, because of state statute, she had to be in the office and had to have the office open to the public for them to be able to come in and file things when everybody else in the courthouse is closed. And so that's why we're asking for that additional stipend pay as well as that per diem pay. Those two together come out to right around $4,300, $4,400 for the year, and that is with a pay increase being put into those. The $2,500, that is a set amount by the state of Indiana under the IC code. And something on these to note, these are only paid in the year that we have election. So if it was like our off year, like 2024 was our off year with no election, those would not be paid amounts because we wouldn't have those additional duties.
It's the extra, the stipend, the per diem for voter registration is paid every year, but it's the additional up to $2,500 stipend that is paid on the election, which is during the election years, there is extra work for the clerk.
And some of that extra work that we haven't mentioned as well is the clerk is required for early voting Saturdays to get all the machines ready, get the vote centers set up. We do have to have two by state law on those Saturdays. She has to go, she covers one of those locations with the minimal absentee staff or early voting staff that we have for that. So those are Saturdays that she's required to give up and make sure that we have as well. So just off the top of my head with a quick calculation, I can think of about 7 or 8 days extra work just for those, not including all the other additional work that is done for that. So that's why we are asking for those additional. The overtime election chief deputy pay, that is the same as what we have done in the past. That is where the chief deputy is for, and correct me if I'm wrong, for her overtime working for election items that is outside or above her normal position.
Is that going up this year?
We put the 10% and that increase was $350. So last year it was $3,500. So the increase that's put in is $3,850 or to $3,850. And then the next line is the election technician. This was formerly the election mechanic pay. With this, what we are looking at on this, that is a decrease from what they have been made in the past. We are asking to reduce this pay by $500 per election back to the pre-COVID pay. That's another position that their duties have changed over the years, and COVID has changed that. So some of the additional things that we have that they are now, that their position requires, and why when we looked at it and averaged it out with their pay, they do the early voting Saturdays. They cover the second polling location and helping transport the machines and getting everything set up, and then troubleshooting and being able to run between both locations in the courthouse as needed those days. Not only are they required to attend the poll worker training, they have to stay after the poll worker training to attend an additional 2-hour training, 1 to 2 hour training on maintenance of the machines and working out all the different little pieces that could potentially go wrong. The Monday before elections, they come to the courthouse, they meet with us as well as whoever the election workers are for that day or for the next day, and they get the machines. They transport the machines and set up the polling locations, everything except popping the seals on the cases and opening them, because that can't happen until the next day. So they make sure that the polling locations are set up, that they have all the supplies that they need at 2 different locations, Scottsburg and Austin. And all of that. And then they come out on election day and they start at 5 a.m. and they're out putting out additional signs for parking and restrictions and things like that, because we are at the schools and they may have events going on, that we can't put signs out the night before. They also troubleshoot machine issues. They're delivering supplies that may have come up if we have something go down or however. They tear down the equipment, they transport the equipment back to the courthouse, and their day ends around 9 or 10 p.m. And it's no matter the weather. So for example, this year, it rained, it monsooned, we all experienced that. We were not expecting that it was going to monsoon that much and come back drenched, but because of everything, they couldn't go home. They had to stay in wet clothes all day. And they started at 5 a.m. and did not get to have their first sit down to grab a drink or anything until 11 a.m. that day. So we keep them busy. So we feel that $1,000 for their for each election for the technician covered it, because it comes out to roughly, when you average out the amount of time, comes out to roughly $28 an hour for their time on that. But we did decrease that because we did see that as an area that we could save some money and still compensate them at a reasonable rate. Inspectors, judges, I'm just want to sort of gloss over. Those are set by the commissioners, so we've left that alone. We're not asking for any increase or anything, as those are set by the commissioner. Poll clerks and Hoosier Hall students, same thing. In office day, election workers, the rest of that. The absentee voter board, we are asking for an $80 increase to the budget overall for the year. And that is so that we can, and I apologize.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but pay them at least minimum wage. Historically, they made about $6 and some change per hour, which is obscenely low in our opinion. So at least bumping that pay up a little bit to get to at least minimum wage, we felt was more than fair for spending a full day here.
And so for your absentee board is the one that comes into the courthouse, the 28 days before election. They're here from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they do that. So they sit there literally all day. We have to have bipartisan representation. And so it's an 8-hour day. And if we do it to where it was normally they get paid $50 a day, we've moved it towards $60 a day, and doing that does get them at that minimum wage hour. Several of the absentee boards came to us this year and said, we don't even make minimum wage. We're doing this because of the service, but it would be nice to at least meet the minimum wage. And I said, well, the council is the one who sets the absentee board pay, where the commissioner set the poll worker election day pay. The commissioner set that as the absentee board. You all set that, and then the election board sets the election technician and in-house day election workers. That's where we set those pays. So I said I'd present that to you and see what you guys thought about it. But that is at your discretion.
So I'm usually pretty vocal and gets me in trouble a lot, but I guess I struggle with why we struggle to pay some people minimum wage, but then we're paying another person $1,000. We're currently $1,500 a day. And I understand they get wet. You're not going to get that argument out of me. I work in sewer. I get wet all the time. I take a change of clothes in my truck. But I struggle with that. Like, you got people traveling on one side and they're barely making minimum wage. And then you got people on the other side that is making way more than the counties around us to do similar job.
And I coming from seeing, employment and different job descriptions and things like that, I do understand and see where you're coming from. Some differences from looking outside, looking in at it. One, the people that are doing the absentee, yes, it is a lower wage, and I do agree that they need to be making at a minimum wage for sitting there. I think that's only fair for anybody. But while they're in there and they have the downtime, they can sit there if they need to play, read a book or whatever. And I'm not saying that justifies anything. However, your technicians, they're moving machines and equipment. They're moving 60 on a full election year. They're moving 65 machines that weigh about 30, 40 pounds a piece. They're having to set them up. They're having to tear them down. They're setting up the polling locations and doing all of that. Whereas the absentee poll workers are more coming in, sitting down, and just being there to assist, whereas the technicians are actually out doing physical labor and things of that nature. I think that plays in a little bit. I do agree, I understand, I think that we need to find a way to do the fair wage, but
Well, and for me, if the, whatever we're calling them, technicians or mechanics or whatever, if they were at like 750, I'd be more apt to take that remainder, put it on these other people and make theirs
Right.
more.
I
equal
will
across
tell
the
you,
board. I don't care to meet minimum wage, but I would like to beat that if possible.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's
Do you
my
have-
personal opinion. That's where I would be.
Do you have trouble getting people to do that?
yes, we have actually been informed by some of our long-term technicians, because we had told them that we're looking, and they said that they won't be back if we go below $1,000.
What about the absentee voter board? Do you have?
So that is the reason why, I'm presenting the minimum wage, the $10 increase pays, because they're like, we sit here and we're not even making that part of it, and they can be doing other things, and
Right.
at this point in time, it is actually upon the party chairs to get the absentee boards and the poll workers. And a lot of times, they can't, and so then it falls upon the election board to try to get those positions filled. But with my election board, I mean, they both have full-time jobs, so it falls on me. And when I'm talking to them and they're vocalizing things to me, they're like, well, we're retired. I can't normally get college students to do it because of scheduling and timing and stuff along those lines. So the people that I am mainly interacting with trying to find to fill these positions are people that are mainly either retired or in the mature stages of life. And at that point in time, they're like, we want to be, they have that dedication of civil service and stuff, but at that same time, they could be doing whatever they want. So I get that, and that's.
Well, you know it better than I do, but that was kind of my
Yeah,
thought
no,
of
it is-
$50 as opposed to $60. Whether they're sitting there reading or physically doing something, that's a grueling long day for
It is.
$60.
Yeah.
So that was my thought is if obviously, once again, you know it better than I do, but if it's a struggle to get people, maybe that is something that needs to be evaluated more than even $10.
Right.
And this is the thing, it's like, things got bumped up during the COVID years because we could not. And so at that point in time, the clerk went to the commissioners and said, because of this, we can't even get poll workers. So they did give like a $100 COVID bonus per poll clerk, judge, and inspector. And then after that happened, it went back to normal, and that was my first year, that primary was my first year, and I barely had enough poll workers to do it. Literally the day I was calling people, the former clerk, Ms. Applegate, was like calling people, trying to get it to where we had enough poll workers to have it, and they just all said, we're not gonna go back before COVID pay, when we could. And so it has never, we went back to the commissioners and they said, yes, we see this, and it has stayed at that COVID pay. But when it comes to the technician side of it, it got bumped up to the 500 to have that, but we still see validity in that. $1,000 is what they were paid before. And the demand on when they were paid before was $1,000 compared to what they do now. The demand on the body and the work is, I would say, double than what it was before. Because the machines, she said, the machines are actually almost 60 pounds each. Yes, they're on rolling wheels, but it's work. It is actual work. It used to
big sweat.
it used to be that all of the machines would go with poll workers, and the poll workers would do that. But with the size of the machines now, it's not even possible. We have to review all, and so that's where we're at. And the technicians, the election technicians, which got changed this year, they used to be mechanics, it's technicians now. They have to change the VPAT papers. They have to be able to understand what is in those machines, changing out paper and stuff along those lines, which does, require somebody who has certain skills, along those lines. But I mean, I see what you're saying.
The only reason I say that is I say the 750 because the next level down is 300 a day, 250, 225, 200. I think you could get your voter board at like $100 a day if you were at 750, because it'd be 680 difference. You'd leave a little bit. You could take that money because you're saving that much on the other side. I would much rather find. Yeah, I think you would much easier find someone to sit in a chair to do whatever for $100, which is compensation worth a day.
Right.
And 750 still isn't bad. I mean, in the end of the day, you're not digging a ditch with a broken shovel here. So that's where I'm at, but I'm only one vote on this board, but
Well,
that's
even with the
my opinion.
absentee board, so the absentee board is still running shorthand here. So the absentee board on those days I'm supposed to have enough absentee board to where there's boards that do the election part or the voting part of it, like the out there sitting with the machines, and then have absentee boards that are checking absentee ballot applications, creating ballots. But I requested that last year to go back to what state statute was and have more absentee board instead of having a resolution where the clerk is and the chief deputy is the one making the ballots, doing all of that work. And we didn't get that. It still falls to where if we're gonna try to get the absentee board to where they need to be, it also needs to be that we need more workers to where we have that bipartisan representation for that state statute. So what happens is it falls upon the election board coming in and checking applications and signatures, and then the clerk making and chief deputy and us all making these ballots to get these things out. And once all that happens, it's a lot of moving parts. So I think we're trying to do the best with what we've got, and saving the county money in any way and every way that we can. And it's working. It's absolutely working, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands the actual workload that's in there. And when it comes to the technicians, and I know that JR, you've done the mechanic once. But I think if you did it now, you would see a different level of requirements.
And we were running numbers. If you were to take the absentee voter board to $100 a day, that would actually change that line to $16,800 for the year. I will tell you the numbers as they are presented on there with the increases and the one decrease, that the overall personal services as presented was a $540 decrease for the year.
So one question I had.
Yes.
So on the 10% goes all the way down to what line? Because you said some was decreased.
It
Some
goes
was
down to the overtime election line 11503.
So all from there up, it's all 10%, correct?
Yes, and if you
Okay.
was to remove the 10% from
Then
those,
you could do this. You could do the 16 for that interior. Is that you? Sort of confused. Yeah.
Basically the same. You could.
With what we have asked for in the budget, if you guys give 10% raises and you give it to the election board and to me as the voter registration and 10% to the chief deputy and that. But if it's 3%, this is even gonna be lower. My absentee boards are content with just making the minimum. Like, we have discussed with them, we have talked with them.
Okay.
We are going off of what they have said, what they have thought,
Okay.
they're the ones doing this.
Okay, well, that makes sense, because you just said you was having trouble getting people, so
We
that's
were,
the
so
reason why we
we
said,
are.
okay.
It is a con. JR, or Mr. Ward, Councilman Ward, how often have you ever turned into me a full list of absentee board and poll workers?
Of absentee board, probably not often. I know I filled some positions that were left vacant in the last 2 years from the Democrat side because we had to have people.
right,
So I've come up with more there as a chairman of a party, but I don't know, a full 84 board, probably not, which would be
Since I've been in office,
42 of mine.
I have never been, the party chairs have never been able to give me a full absentee board and a full clerk, and we're just calling it, it just is what it is. They have full-time jobs, everybody works, it is a team effort here, it is not this or that, it is a team effort here at getting this done and working together. And so when your absentee board comes to you and says, hey, we didn't make minimum wage, but if we got it to $60 an hour, that just makes it more palatable to us, and we'll continue, and you have that quality work. So listen to the people that are doing this for you. They're not asking for $100 an hour. Or a day, they're not asking for
Well,
that.
but just the way she just presented it, like you said,
Yeah,
Ron,
yeah,
so
so-
if you gave more money, you'd have a better chance to get more people. That's what it sounded like to me.
Probably, I mean,
So
Yeah,
that's
enticing
it's
for
more
people to
enticing
sign
for
up
people
to
to
do it.
work.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
that is an absolutely valid statement,
Okay.
but
But if you've already talked to them and they're good with
yes,
minimum wage, then that's
but on
fine.
the same end,
Yeah.
we have quality people that are doing the technicians, and they said that we'll go down to $1,000 to what it was before, and they know it, and they're quality
Which,
workers,
that's 2 people, right?
it's four.
Four
It's
people.
But 2 per Saturdays.
Yes, it's 2 for Saturdays, but
4
it's
total.
4 total for each election cycle.
That's understandable. Like I say, I just was,
Yeah,
on that
so-
point, I just, yeah, okay. You see where I'm
We'll
coming
still do
from.
it for $1,000, and they know the machines, they know the equipment, they know how to work.
But on the flip side, if we're buying new machines, nobody knows them. We all gotta learn.
No.
And I will tell you that if you
no,
do not,
just because they're new machines doesn't mean that they don't work the same way. It's just,
If you're gonna buy a new machine that's gonna do the exact same thing, why would you spend $180,000?
because it's the updating of the system, it's the updating of the production of the system. So it's just because you've had an Apple,
So there's gonna be no new training, we just roll them out and everybody's good to go.
it's the same thing as like if it was a Gen 1 Apple phone to a, what generation are we now? 15 Apple phone. It's, the production is just, it's that same.
I can tell you, I had to do some training on my new phone.
So-
I can tell you that. You push a button on the side and it does all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
But the DRE machines would be the same thing as what the mechanics would do to set them up and the same stuff. It's just the updated version of what is in those machines.
Yeah, when we went up to Microvote's office, there's all sorts of counties that are there, and we all have different machines, and they're very consistent, if that makes sense. They show us all the same information.
All right.
and if you were to take out the pay increases that we had for everything, for all except for the 11105 line, that's $1,740. So if we didn't do any increases on any of the other, we did allow the $2,500 stipend, and we reduced the technician pay to the $1,000. That's an additional $1,740 that we could say that if you guys,
Like I say,
yeah.
We don't know about the raises yet because. you know,
Right.
whatever it is, so.
And then looking at our expenses, those are pretty cut and dry because it is a municipal election year. We have reduced the expenses because we won't have the amount of expenses that we had in a county election or in a presidential election year. And so we have cut all of that. One of the things too that is on there, but you will see is now at a zero, is the backup generators. That's part of that cybersecurity. Federal law says that we have to be able to keep the machines running in the event that we have a storm that takes power out at a voting center. We have to be able to still run the vote machines on that day. If not, then we have to seek other methods. Michelle has worked very diligently on that. And instead of us having to purchase a $10,000 generator to run everything at the one location that does not have the backup generator, she has worked out a deal with one of our local rental companies that they will hold a generator available for us on election days. And if we need it, then we can get it and pay for it. If we do not need it, then we do not have to pay for it. And they are going to cut us a discount on that. So that would be less than $1,000 for a rental for the day if we needed that. So we were able to cut that back out of the budget. And so overall, with the budget as presented, we are looking at a decrease of $5,660 for the year on our budget.
Sounds good.
What's up next?
That's all we have as the election board, unless you guys have any more from us.
No, Thank you very much. Thank you,
I've
ma'am.
never
Appreciate it.
heard the term Hoosier Hall student. What is that?
Great question. So Hoosier Hall students is students that are in high school, it's normally your seniors. They are not at the age of 18, but they are at the age anywhere from 16 and 17-year-old students. They have to meet certain criteria per school, and they have to have permission from the parents that they can come and work as election day poll workers, and get that experience of doing what the poll workers do. They can either be a poll clerk or a judge. They cannot be an inspector. But they can do that, and it's called Hoosier Hills Pass, and it lets the students.
It's an educational thing for them. They get
So,
paid,
a lot
I
of
take it they
times
get paid a little bit.
They still get paid just like a normal poll worker would. This past year, in the presidential election, we had
Eight,
or
there was
10.
4 each location.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and so it was great. This year, we weren't able to get them in the primary. I'll reach back out to the schools for the general, but
So schools pick the students.
the students come to this being like, hey, yes, I'd love to do this, but they do have to meet certain requirements. They have to have a certain grade point average, parents have to approve, but the school kind of like, we follow the schools, you know, who welcome us there with that, but it's,
It's a good thing. I just never heard this term.
yeah, and I will say that the year that we were having them, our coworkers loved it. And so it was a great, we'll try again this year and see if we can get in. It's just during the primary, there's a lot of school events and sports and stuff, so. Graduation, yes, there's, yeah, you usually have better on in the general.
You want to do your?
So we will transition to,
Which I will tell you, we beat the heck out of this whole COMOT pay thing, and we're going to pretty much wait until August 15th when we get that salary study that we paid for in, and then we're gonna look at it versus the changes that should have been made through the years and try to hit somewhere in the middle for the people who should have been brought along or whatever happened there. But just to save some time, we've talked about over the.
And I will say, I mean,
Judges and.
as elected officials, I mean, I commend Jennifer for advocating for her staff. That's what we were supposed to do as an elected official for our staff and our departments, is to advocate for them. So yeah, it's good. So thank you for looking into that.
I'm just, nobody disagrees with
Yeah.
the facts that have been brought up. We just.
Absolutely,
Take some
yeah.
time, look into it, and I think it would not be responsible of us to say what we're gonna do until we get the study that we paid for, which is just a couple of weeks out, see what it says versus whatever else is going on, and then try to hit somewhere in the middle that we can afford.
Absolutely. Like I said, as elected officials, it's our job to advocate. So I
No,
can,
I agree.
and we just didn't know that we could do an avocation in that kind of form. And so we all work together. It's a team. So we're good with it as long as you guys
Yep.
are aware of it. And
And we're gonna work on it.
Yep,
Figure something
perfect. So going back into just the general fund for the clerk's staff, obviously we put in the additional 10% raise like was offered. We did do the salary difference thing on that, just so that it was advertised. I included the longevity for staff. Part-time is there. I know that, I don't know if anybody else is asking for this, but I'm still advocating that there be a elected official attorney. As the council, you guys have an attorney. As the commissioners, there is an attorney. There are instances that each elected official could use an attorney, and we either have to depend on if there is open space for Alex or for Heather. Sometimes there's conflict of interest within that. But there are situations within each elected official. The auditor has had it where we have these sovereign citizens, first right amendment that come in, are threatening lawsuits, make threats to elected officials, to staff. And there are times where we do need legal counsel and advice on how to handle these situations so that as an elected official or as a staff member of a county government, we are proceeding the way we're supposed to. We're not lawyers. We don't know. And so we need answers. And sometimes it's really, really difficult for us to get those because as an elected official, we don't have people that we can always turn to. So that's that $10,000 that I'm still advocating for. Not saying that it would always be used, but if we need it, it's there. There has been times where out of nowhere, people are at the door and they're doing things. And we can't control what people do. And it's not us getting in trouble. It's just we don't know how to handle the situation because we are not attorneys. Going to office supplies, I have lowered my office supply budget $2,000. Postage is this postage. I'm asking for $15,000. We don't turn in the past years. We don't turn in postage. We use it. It is what it is. Postage actually has went up again. But in office supplies, I have decreased that this year, trying to help save money in the budgets. M&M,
On office supplies, you've only used $2,000 so far out of the 15 in this year. Do you think is
so no, that is a mistake on my end of messing it up and putting it in the wrong line, because election supplies and office supplies are a reverse number, and someone may have dyslexia and just accidentally reverse numbers, but that is getting fixed. But anyway, for M&M, I did ask to increase that for the $1,000 we had last year, to where we get a certain amount of toner and things that are included in the contract. We did have to go over that. I bought it out of office supplies, but technically because it's within the contract, I asked to go up $1,000 with that, buying extra toners and stuff along those lines. Crawley microfilm. This is the thing that I've actually taken out of the general budget. At this point in time, we no longer make microfilm. I put that into what's called the preservation budget. And because if anything happens to the microfilm that we have now, I will use the preservation fund because it is preserving perpetuation. It's called preservation of those films. And I feel like that is adjustable, or a justification of why we would use that. And I've completely taken that out. So it's $1,000 out of this budget. The association of dues, all of that's the same as bookbinding. I've took it out of the general fund. We have these order books that are in the clerk's office. If you've ever been in there, they're giant books. We no longer make those books, but we still do have to take care of those books and preserve those books. I've taken the money out of the general and put that into the perpetuation fund because that is going to be in a perpetuation and preservation area too.
One quick question before we turn the page. On travel expense, do you budget for you to travel or is that for your staff to travel?
Both.
Okay. Just a question because I asked it earlier with the assessor and they were not aware that there's a fund, a whole separate fund in the county for elected officials training and travel.
Yes.
So-
So in that fund though, that is from the recorder. It's her perpetuation funds of the recorder. It comes out of that, but that can only be used for state called conferences. So for me, a state called conference would be my state board of accounts. In my Indiana election division, those are the only two conferences that I can pull out of that fund. It has to be state called. I was told it had to be state called. But for the clerk, we have the voter registration conferences that we have to go to. We have the clerks association conferences that we have to go to that are not state called, but they are trainings on the other sides. There's also the Association of Indiana Counties and the court staff conferences.
Everything to do with the election, it comes out of that travel expense though, right? 'Cause you have to
So the
put that-
Indiana voter registration that conference comes out of the election budget travel, yes. But out of that election budget travel also comes out of all of the travel for your absentee boards, your poll workers, your travel board, any kind of travel that people have to do within the election, that comes out of that travel budget too. But we do take the Indiana voter registration conference out of that travel, yes.
All right.
But so for travel, that is for me, that's for staff. Cell phones is there. We already went over the book binding. Within that, we are lowering the office supplies, contracts and stuff. I've lowered this budget, pretty much $5,200 this year, trying to help and maintain and save the county money and see what we can do. I'm hoping we don't have to come back for appropriations. But we're doing our best that we can for what comes out of the general fund. What questions?
That's all on my head. You guys got any?
Okay.
Appreciate it.
My next budget is going to be my clerk perpetuation fund. This fund is not in general. This is actually considered designated funds. It can only be spent specific ways. The perpetuation fund is for preservation of records. We can buy equipment to preserve records. We can buy supplies that we need to preserve records. We can pay companies to come in and preserve records along those lines. How I'm doing the preservation is instead of paying a company, a lot of counties will pay a company to come in and scan these records, digitize these records. What I have offered is for the clerk staff to do an additional 3 hours over their normal 70 hours in a pay period. They do 35 a week, 70 a pay period. They can do an additional 3 hours perpetuation, which is scanning in documents and stuff like that. During the day, my staff scans in stuff. If there's a slow time or whatever, we still are scanning throughout the day, but this is an opportunity for them to do the additional. It also is for the chief deputy and me, because we have to check and balance, there's checks and balances. What the staff scans in, I have to go in, make sure everything did get scanned in, create a list, send it to the state saying, I verify that these records are digitally preserved, and we can get rid of the paper copy because they are preserved. For me and my chief deputy, if we have 6 staff doing 3 hours a week, we need more than 3 hours because we can't keep up with the stock. We have learned that it gets a lot bigger because there's only 2 of us doing the checks for that. I did put in there the book binding from the general and the microcaulifilm film preservation into this budget. I've done equipment. I've budgeted $5,000 for equipment in case one of our scanners break, yada, 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 something that needs to be done, purchased for that. Any questions? And just to read it, this is designated funds. It cannot be, it's not out of general. It can only be spent doing this. And I will say that I've offered for other staff that has the Odyssey access into the court systems, if they want to come down and help with this, our goal is to get these records scanned and done and get it over with. Once it's done, we don't have to keep scanning. At a certain point in time, we've already started going to where everything's digital. It's these old records and stuff.
How
So,
far does that go back in years?
oh, it goes way back there. So I call it the dungeon, but there's a room over behind community corrections that has just boxes and boxes and boxes of files.
I mean, what year?
And that's not the ones that are in the clerk's office that we're working on too. So,
What year? What year? Just roughly.
I think everything went digitally created. I want to say 2011 is when the system called Odyssey was created. So,
How far back on the records are you on the dates? Did you say?
we've got,
Well, I don't know if they're necessarily scanning them in order.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know if you
I
went
mean,
back like 1930.
I checked off the other day that we had cases that were like in the 80s.
Yeah,
And yeah,
but then there's some that are from like 2004.
so
In the 80s.
They
You're
just-
not talking
they
19
take 'em out.
Start happening.
Like 1920 or 1930 or nothing like that.
we have records that's in those big order book things.
Okay, I'm just asking,
Yeah.
just for curious.
But I know I've definitely done stuff from the 80s. I've seen stuff from the 80s. But
The rates on here are based on the 10% also, right? So if we don't do that, we need to change these before.
it is yes, this rate will be on whatever
Presented it,
presented current. And I will say so
but
for
it's
my.
not at an hour and a time and a half, like over.
No. And so I will say, in my office, I have 2 sets of pay, like we've talked about. There is the second deputy and the bookkeepers. If my bookkeepers are doing scanning, they do not make bookkeeper pay because they're not doing the financial part of the bookkeeping. They are scanning, they make the second deputy portion. Perpetuation has to be documented, very detailed of them using this. So how we have set up a policy with the State Board of Accounts, with the commissioners of exactly how perpetuation records have to be documented, and that pay cannot cross over. So if my bookkeepers are doing the scanning, they are making it at the wage of what a second deputy is, because this is not bookkeeping, this is scanning in documents, this is that base pay.
That's fine.
Hey,
You know,
So this is a fund you have in your office. It doesn't come out of general, lit,
Nope.
anything else.
This can only be
If
spent by
I
the
see
clerk.
right, you
This,
have a balance of $77,930.52 in this account that you're using $27,000 and something to do for this year.
yep,
or for
and
next
this,
year.
this account is sustainable. So every year we deposit money into it. So,
It's had over 10,000 put in it this year.
yes, and so this comes from fees and stuff that if somebody needs a marriage license and they come in, they need something certified from the clerk, court records document, this is that fund.
Personally, I think it's a good thing because you're using your people you already got and they're here. If they got some free time, then they can work it.
Right, it's
They're
keeping
doing
it,
this on their lunch hour or their
yes, they come in from 8, they can come in from 8 to 8:30 and scan, or they can use their lunch hour from like, they can take, instead of an hour, they can take 30 minutes or they can take the whole hour. But to make sure that we are documenting this properly within the procedure and the policy that the State Board of Accounts approved and the commissioners, we now have a time clock in the office. And when they do it, they do the time clock and then they send me an email saying, at this date, this time, I scanned these cases and this many papers or this many sheets into this, and I clip it. It is all saved. It is documented to the T of what's
You just
happening.
stay after work and do it.
They don't. I
I'm just
mean,
saying,
they don't. I mean, they could if they wanted, but I'm not. I try to be there when they're doing it as the supervisor and the elected official to make sure I'm there in the office if anything happens or whatever. And I've not had any staff members stay after to do it.
Okay, well, I just asked that question.
Yeah.
They're usually ready to go.
Hey, Jennifer, I was just gonna say, I'm gonna make myself a note. Will you, in the minutes or whatever notes you're keeping, we double check the salaries before we send it, just so that we're not wrong? Because if we change them, I think that would be easy for us to overlook this one before we send budgets off. But no, I agree with the guys here. I think it's a great program, seems to be working, and the money's there. You're actually at 78,361.91 is what it's showing as of today.
Yep.
So using,
And I mean, we could have a company do it. And we had a former clerk take some and have them, a company scan it. And when she started checking, they missed stuff. So at this point in time, it's keeping it in the community. It's keeping it in the workers here and it's getting it done. Is it as fast? No, but keeping it here. Any questions? John, I saw you had a hint. What was your question?
No, I just,
Wrong, John.
oh,
Commissioner, okay, Council Lisenby. Okay, the next one is clerk, and this is another fund that is the clerk incentive. It is designated funds. It can only be, it is not out of general. It is for the clerk's incentive. It's called the incentive fund for 40s, which is child support. The clerk has to do an administrative part of 4D. I have to submit all of this and do the records and time tracking for my staff. I asked for this last year. It was not appropriated. It was approved in the salary ordinance, but it hasn't been appropriated. But this is, I have the State Board of Accounts emails. I have Child Support Division emails, and I've showed everybody these because I have spoke with every council member individually on this, that these funds are there for the clerk to have. The reason it has to be appropriated is because as an elected official, all of my per diems and stipends that are state code statute has to be on the salary ordinance. So the funds are here. It is not in general funds. It is no funds that come out of taxpayers. It is the funds there. I just need the council to appropriate it.
and that's the only request out of that budget.
Mhm.
All right.
But it's not general funds. It's
Yeah.
at this point in time,
40 fund,
yep, it's the
child
board.
support fund.
And it's there. And so I have-
Anybody got any other questions?
I think you covered everything well.
perfect.
Good job,
Sounds
ladies.
good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's anything else, let us know. We
Thank you for the
appreciate,
hard work you put in.
I appreciate that. I will say the commissioners and the council, I think you guys put in a lot of hard work too, and sometimes it's overlooked. As elected officials, we all do our services to the best of our ability. So your work and hard and dedication haven't gone unnoticed either. So I really appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you.
I don't think ever that if I haven't called you or texted you all, you guys haven't responded. And 90% of the time, it's not Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. It's when I can handle stuff too, and you guys aren't at work either. So I see your hard work. I hope you guys see our hard work.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can we take 5 minutes and run to the restroom and get back into you guys?
Do you need me to mute this?
If you want, you can.
There we go.
All right, so we're unmuted back from the restroom break. One thing we talked about, and I pulled up an email, but we're gonna double check on the public defender to verify it's paid out of the drug court grant. I maybe misheard what the judge said earlier. I just want to make sure that's paid. But either way, what we did talk about with Judge Mount is in their proposed budget for 27 of that public defender for drug court.
Right.
All you,
I don't know how to present this either.
you got
Yeah,
thrown to the
so
wolves.
the main difference that I was made aware of was the drug court that is mentioned in here for the 35,000 for the drug court public defender. And then, Josh is calling me. Hello.
While she's answering that, we also have the base contract adjustment. So as part of the annual review for the pay parity, the Indiana Public Defender Commission advised that the compensation for a full-time 1.0 equivalent public defender contract should increase from $87,000, which is currently, to $92,373. So the proposed budget does reflect that adjustment to help ensure continued compliance with the commission's compensation guidelines and to maintain eligibility for reimbursement.
And then Josh said that he does not believe Judge Mount got the grant to cover the PD. So it would be a part of our budget, but it would also be the 40% reimbursement
Okay.
from the state.
All right. And so I think that's what I heard this morning was, yeah, it's not
Yes.
in the grant. So I just, in the effort of making sure we understand, I want to
Yes.
know that we're funding a public defender for that with the option of getting 40% of their fees or costs reimbursed.
Reimbursed from the state, correct? Yes.
And then I can send you guys a copy of this. It's hard to see up there because of that other one, but I'm pretty sure that's the form you're looking at now,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Josh sent me that as well just a little bit ago. So the contracted amounts. And are those changed at the state level? They set those, or is that?
Their recommendations.
Yes, it's set based on the prosecutor's pay. So that's why their increase is because I think last year prosecutors got a raise. And so then for us to stay in compliance with the state, our pay has to reflect what the prosecutors are getting paid.
Did they get a raise last
I
year?
don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't know if it was last year or the year before.
The year before they
I
did.
try not to say.
But because,
Because
and-
last year ours didn't increase.
yeah, yours I
But
think
we-
stayed exactly the same last year.
Yes. It has to based on whatever they're making. I don't know when that raise happened. But that's the reflection from, like, my contract would go from 87,000 to 92,373. And that's based solely to stay in compliance with the state based on prosecutor pay.
So the change would be from 444,700 last year to the contract this year would be 506,102.30.
That also includes the drug
For
court.
drug
Yeah,
court of
That's that major
35,000.
is the 35,000.
And then, one other discrepancy, I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but Josh's pay, the chief deputy, in this form that we get, which is the budget estimate one, it shows the 115,108. But I know every year he refuses, and even in this paper, it says I do not take that 5,000 county supplement. So from what I'm looking at, you correct me if I'm wrong, he's asking for his to be 110,108.
Yes,
So I need to
correct.
change this form,
that's correct.
if you guys would, to 110,108. And I always appreciate that he does that, it means a lot, but. And then, let's see, that's.
And then there's a separate, my understanding is it's a separate budget that comes not from the general fund for that 32,500. Title 4E.
Oh, that's child support for the foster care and child support.
Right.
That is for, which one you said?
There's-
It's that second underlying thing.
It's
Yes,
separate from
okay,
the
yeah.
general
Yeah.
fund.
Yeah, so that would come from the general fund, but that is requested budget for the child support. I think it's like
Yeah.
attorneys for those.
Yeah, that's for the, usually a contract fee, yep, depositions, training and licensing, yeah, 32.5. I think that's pretty standard. We do that every year. I remember seeing it. And I'm good with that. There's a lot of people, and I think that's more for, what they call it, guardian ad litem cases and things like that, where there's
It
not
may
a
be
representative for the foster
Yeah,
care.
sometimes people get like attorneys appointed for contested adoptions or things like that,
Gotcha.
that we're not contracted. to
Yep.
do.
I'm good with that one. You guys got any questions for him? Come up with something hard for Stephanie.
I've already had to phone a friend.
At least you still call him a friend. That's all. Sticking you up here. Yep, I think we're good. We're through.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Next
Thank
time
you,
I'll
thank
find a phone.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you all. Have a good one.
Randy, do you want to knock out that transfer station? Do you want to knock out that transfer station while you're here? I think it's not till later, but if you're
Well,
here.
it's actually next.
He's
Oh, is it? All right then. I was hoping we were ahead of schedule. so my-
Jerry's supposed to be here.
All right, Jennifer asked me to come in here and
Where's that on?
do the transfer station for you guys.
It's toward the end, it's under transfer
Uh,
station.
So the request is to have $137,900 put in the transfer station's budget from their account, their checking account that they have. So not out of the general. The money breaks down like this. It's for transfer station workers, $56,000. For supplies, they're asking for $500. For printing and advertising, $800. For the utilities, $7,000. For other services, transfer station annual fees, disposal fees, $78,900. For equipment, just for maintenance, in case something happens, $2,500. And that comes to $137,900. Currently, the transfer station's making about $12,000 a month. I just got off with the phone with Mandy. Mandy says we're looking good. Everything's actually, now that we got the other compactor in,
You got it right.
our cost of hauling has dramatically reduced. The only unforeseen thing that we have out there is how much trash people throw in the ditch. You know, we pay by the pound, mattresses and beds, box springs,
You mean laying out on
couches,
county
all get
roads,
heavy
you
when they
mean?
get wet.
You mean laying out on county roads?
Yeah.
Dumping.
That's the only thing that I can't answer for, how much it's going to come in and cost us. If you have any more questions, I'll be glad to answer for you.
How many workers we got out there, Randy?
Total workers right now is 3. Yeah.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
What do we do with professional services?
That's if we, right now,
I don't want to cut you off, but the reason I'm asking is I'm not nitpicking. I'm saying there's 15,580 in the current budget and there's nothing listed for next year.
well, and what it was, we did a SWWP, and I forget it. Greg was doing it. It was a wastewater program, and that's what we needed, the 15,000 for that. I don't think that's annually.
Okay.
I was the one who took that out. I don't think that's annual, so that's,
It's
I mean,
all, it's all the landfills had to have that done. They had to have the waste, the water draining off the landfill is what it was. It was a service that they had, everybody had to do that had a landfill. It's a
We
waste
don't have
station.
to do it again.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
And then
It's like an audit thing.
I think you're on point pretty close with the one, do we want to leave it as transfer station workers, or did we talk about one time making the manager like a different line?
Well, we should be paying, right now, Steve Horde, $1 more per hour. I don't know if that's happened or not.
That's in the salary ordinance.
I believe that it is. Yeah, there is a line. Right now you have 3 people at, I think it's, I want to say 20, I'm not sure. And you've got one person that makes $1 more. So you've got spaces for 4 people out there.
So that's how the salary ordinance looks. I know it's hard to see, I'm sorry, but it says part-time manager at $21.60, part-time employee times 3 at $20.60. I just didn't know if on the budget you want
We
to
can
group
do
it
that.
all together, or do you want to put it out separately to keep the manager part separated?
I think
Oh, that's a question for you.
Separate.
So if you was,
Do you know, Randy, how the manager, do they have about the same hours as the other guys, like per week?
It flexes. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, there's no way of, they're working it out amongst themselves when they work.
None of them are working overtime though.
No. No, the place ain't even open enough to get overtime.
what do you think it would be on average? So if he's $21.60 an hour, he works 15, 20 hours a week maybe, or more.
Who's that?
I'd have to
3
look.
days. Is that
Manager
what-
guy, the manager position.
He fills in whenever he has to catch. I can't,
Yeah, you can't, they don't really.
anything comes out of my mouth right now about that would be a lie.
So you just leave it all grouped together, then just see, so long as you got it separated.
We
on
can
the
do-
20,
yeah.
that's to me, that makes.
Separated on the
Yeah,
salary ordinance.
separate on salary ordinance, we done.
That's fine.
Everybody good with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, just leave it as is.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how many hours they work.
Yeah.
It'd be different if they had a set schedule.
Yeah, but they don't,
Yeah.
they don't know, because he might have to come in till
Yeah,
somebody's
I think-
out there.
I mean, the whole thing was set up for, we have people who's retired in the community wants to earn extra money, a job for them. And that's the way so I haven't got down in the weeds about how many hours they have to work or whatever.
That's right. Like the-
I don't have to worry about it because like I say, it's not even open 40 hours a week.
Right
So,
now, you're 49,800 is what was budgeted or set as a budget for 26. We spent 32,300 or 17,469 remaining. So that's a rough kind of where we're at on the, not saying we can't add to it or whatever, but that's how it's spent out. So if you spent $32,330 in 7 months, let's do 8, about that, about 8 months. You spend about $4,041 a month in payroll out there.
Yeah.
Is what you're averaging right now, what it looks like.
I've seen improvement myself. I think it's better.
I'm sorry.
I think I've seen a lot of improvements. I think it's a lot better
Oh.
than we thought it was gonna be.
Absolutely. Yeah, we turned that.
We could
It's
just
turned
get-
around.
if we could just get that drive through out there a little bit better. Get people
Did you,
in out there.
did you say it's bringing 12,000 a year? Or a month?
I'm sorry.
Did you say 12,000 a month? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Awesome. That's great.
How do we change the disposal fees so drastically? I mean, for the good, the county's way better off.
Because it's
but-
compacting better now.
Yeah.
Is that what?
So when you have a dumpster and that dumpster goes out, you get charged 6 ton
No matter.
right off the bat. So if there ain't 6 ton in it, that's where we've been getting.
Because I know in the
Yeah.
past, like, not last year so much, but maybe the year before, was it last year too? It was in well over 100,000. And
When
we're,
we
we
first
spent-
came in on council, it was 186,000, but we were
we
in the
spent
hole.
$40,680 in disposal fees, which is.
That's good.
That's more
He's
than,
just smashing
it's
it
more
down.
than
Uh-huh.
$100,000.
Smashing it down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
All right,
Thank
fair
you, Randy.
enough. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. See ya.
That's quick. This one.
Back up on-
Yeah. You gotta know your ABCs.
Sing the song.
Good afternoon, fellas. How y'all doing? Ma'am?
Which one are you starting on?
Well,
Which one are you starting on?
I don't know, where you want to start?
Don't matter to me.
Me either. Give me-
Really, it's gonna be basically simple, because we need an increase in the salaries, really is the only thing that we're really asking for an increase in. The reason why I say this is, there's gonna be a new sheriff, it's gonna come in here, we're just asking for basically the same thing we had last year. And they're gonna have to come in, new sheriff, will be new council maybe, so they're gonna have to come in and decide what they want, because I have no idea what the sheriff next is gonna want, what he's gonna need. So that's.
But are they gonna stay pretty basic as to what you have listed here? Or are you taking some of those out?
Do what now?
Is it basically gonna stay as is listed?
I guess, if that's what you think it, I mean, I know it's hard to plan, like you said, Jerry, for the next guy or what they're gonna want and need, but if it's basically what you've got this current year, I mean, your current, I just pulled it up, so I'm not reading the wrong numbers, is $4,375,610 is what we're operating on in 26. Trying to see if it's broke down some, like county general out of it is 185,750 in that line.
And I'm not sure where like some of those, where the increases will come in, obviously where you guys decide to put it at. You know, what, because there's, with the jail, you know, if you pay out of the legal special for them salaries, or paying out of the general fund. So whatever those funds are, and I think Jennifer and Kelly had went through and had already adjusted those for next year's 1.5 increase.
Your intent, I guess, is to keep the matrix and they fall in where that falls, right?
Right,
So
that's
everybody
what it
goes up 1.5% in the
Yes.
following year.
Yes. And then, like I say, when the sheriff comes in, it's up to him to do whatever, you know, whatever he thinks he should do or shouldn't do or whatever. Other than that, was keep everything the same, like I had.
And there, you did the same, like where it's advertised in each one, so you go through and pick it out.
Pick and choose where you want
It
it.
looked like it's advertising on
Yeah, our budget's a little different than everybody else's.
it. You got it in all three lines.
Right.
Be nice to have it all three lines, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So outside of that, beyond the three major, the lit, the general, or the two lits and the general, you have the sheriff narcotics officer. So that covers one, just for one deputy. That all.
Right.
It's on there. The SRO interlocal is where the school resource, those are there.
The only thing I would ask is this, I don't know if this is, if it happened or not, you spoke to the judge.
Yeah, well, Judge Mountain's in earlier, I haven't spoken to.
That's what I was like, yeah, Judge Mountain. So he said something about maybe having a fourth, courthouse security. So I don't know if he did that or not, so if he did that.
He didn't mention nothing.
He didn't
I'm
mention
saying.
that.
But we
Okay.
got, we, you know, that's just presenting the budgets and we
Well,
might
yeah.
have into nothing but.
Would that be for here, is that what you're talking about, or for?
I don't know, that was up to him, because we had, you know, whatever the commissioners, whatever Randy and those guys want us to do, you know what I'm saying? what
I know
we
we
do.
I heard talk, and it makes sense to have somebody here, but obviously not right now because it's not full. But once it's up and functioning, it makes sense that maybe we would want something over in this side. But yeah, we definitely have to look at that to see if it would add. And I don't know if one would do it. I don't know, because
Yeah, that'd be up to whoever comes in next, because I don't know if it's up and running, if it is before then, you know what I'm saying? But whatever the judge wants to do, whatever the commissioners wants to do, you know what I'm saying, we should, we'll end up doing. So.
and do you know where on another topic, the lease bond payment, doesn't it start going down or does it stay the same? Do you remember on that one?
No, I believe it,
I think
I
we're at
believe
the
it does go
peak and
down
it
just a
starts going
hair.
Down a couple thousand a year now, right?
I think it does, and I hate to say I did not check that before I came over to make sure.
That's
I
a jail
didn't
bond.
either, but I just remember that,
Yeah.
Lit special purpose.
yeah, it's where we pay that bond.
The jail bond.
Yeah, but I think we're
From
at the point where,
Jail loan.
Yeah,
I guess you should- yeah.
where you pay out so much and now we're starting to go on the backside of it. It should go down a couple $1,000s every time.
Was it a detective that's the match for Morgan's
Drug detective.
drug detective?
Yeah, the narcotics.
Okay.
Are your all salaries, is that with the, I know most people were asked to do 10%. Did you do that or is that based on
We just kept our matrix.
what's your matrix?
We kept the matrix.
That way I don't have to do more math. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless somebody's got something major, I think it's kind of the same thing we're operating off of.
Well,
Keep
there
that.
was a few of them that were cut that we need to be, that's why I asked if you were gonna leave it as is, or if you're cutting some down.
I mean, I would love to leave it as is, but obviously it depends on what kind of revenue we got, but the cuts don't usually come until we figure out the bottom line we have to meet. If we have to cut, is there something you want us to look at more than others, or? I mean, obviously
No, I-
personnel doesn't factor into that.
No,
It
I'd
was opposite
rather,
of what you thought. She said that there was some that you cut from us last year that needed to have money in, but again, that's for the new sheriff to decide as far as that goes, because it's not nothing to do with salaries, it's all just equipment stuff.
Equipment stuff.
no, it's the fuel and things as well that were cut.
But that's,
And we talked the last time about like fuel prices is killing a bunch of people, I think. Cause that's usually I'm playing off my brain, I can go look here, but I think it's 70 in one and like 15 in the other one.
It was 30, but it got dropped to
To
15,
15.
so now it's all coming out of one.
So that made it 85 instead of 100 is what you're saying, okay.
Mhm. Yeah, there were a couple like that, if it's like this, then we'll be better, but if it,
Well,
cut
was
half
it-
like
was
that.
it the last meeting we talked, or the meeting before that we talked about maybe checking into getting the fuel like what the city did? So
Last
it'd
one,
be-
I think.
was the last one, instead of having to, I mean, city does this, I didn't know if that would be something that the county could do or not, so.
I don't like, again, whatever, you know,
Oh, I understand,
commissioners you guys decide to do.
Yeah.
For us, that may be kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because,
You don't know where you're gonna be at.
don't know where we're gonna
Is
be
that
at,
your
we better
side?
find a gas station that's open 24/7, you know how that's.
I understand. I just,
But
I just know we
it's
talked
cheap.
about that, yeah, so.
I'm not sure of this. I don't know if we couldn't go to like these gas companies or like the WEX or whoever it is and come up with some kind of a deal with them. Does that make sense? Like what kind of rate can you give us cheaper? Because I don't know if how they do their stuff, but
They just pay what you buy at the pump, don't they, Wex?
yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that like if WEX had a deal with like Circle K, or if they had a deal with where we could use it at like Circle K majority of the time, say, listen, Circle K's are getting this much cheaper. But if it's an emergency, you know what I'm saying, then obviously you got to get it where you got to get it. That's the reason why I say
Some of them, like, I mean, you'll see on the sign, Circle K is 10 cents cheaper per gallon sometimes if you do. So I wonder if, like you said, maybe they can negotiate a deal like that. If you bought it from Circle K and, I don't know. I think we got
with
to
your
figure
guys'
out
permission,
for
if you're with your guys' permission, what I can do is we can call and talk to them and see if there is some kind of deal like that. That way we would know.
I'm fine with it.
If you're a member on a lot of these, well, you'll get 10 cents off a gallon anyway.
Right.
Like even Murphy's or Casey's or any of those places. Start like check into
I'll
that.
check into that.
I'll check into it and see, like I said.
The other option would be like buying or, getting fuel tanks, buying fuel in bulk. But
Like I say, you don't know.
that's a crapshoot too. If you buy it today and it drops 30 cents tomorrow, I don't know if you're saving anything or not.
And I think that at one point in time, John remember it, I think the county used to do that. Is that correct? And it didn't work out. So that's the reason why they went to the fuel card. So I don't know that back in
EMS
circumstances then, but
I think
Back
EMS
in the
still
day.
does. They still have tanks for their fuel. But I think, and I'm saying I think a lot, I'm fairly certain Nick has to sign a contract for so many gallons a year, like early in the year. Which wouldn't be bad because obviously you're going to spend it with the vehicles on the road. But there again, if you entered into a contract and the price goes up, it's cheaper to buy that Moto Mart. It's a hard pill to swallow to order a semi truck of fuel whenever it's cheaper up the road. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that one is, but I know it's definitely a problem that plagues a lot of us, or a lot of departments.
I'll check with Wex so and see what they'll do if they do something like that for us.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks, sir.
You have a great day.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep.
Hey.
All right. Get some sleep.
See y'all.
See y'all.
See you.
See you, Doug.
There you go.
Jonathan L. White, you up next, I guess. He said, I don't know.
Tell me what T. Williams.
I don't know. She might have to get canceled.
Okay,
Oh, Tanya Williams.
Tanya Williams is soil.
And I think Nick wants to come back in at 3. There was something.
He got him on the list here.
Yeah, we had-
We had to add him in kind of last minute.
Okay.
He's on everybody's list.
And Nick's
The
coming
next
back in
guy
at
can bring
3:30.
it to me. Where you gonna start at?
Oh, I don't know where you want to start at.
Y'all got my budget.
Do you need a copy of your budget?
You want a copy of it?
He said,
I pretty well know it off the top of my head.
I'll be there by the end of this.
Well, what you'll see, there's 3 pretty major increases on it. It's gonna be salaries, autopsies, and training. Other than that, everything stays the same except the numbers.
You've heard that a time or two, ain't you?
So let's start with yours, because I know we messed that up, or tried to fix it and couldn't last year. So your request is to go to 35?
Yep.
All right. And then 1 deputy coroner, which is at, what are they now?
We got her moved up to 10.
Say, what used to be,
She was at 5.
it was
when I-
49.88.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we added 5,000 as an additional this year, made it to 10,000 total.
And the big thing with those 2 positions, I've talked to JR about it and I ain't really talked to anybody else about it. And most of you probably don't realize this. For some reason, the coroner is not getting his retirement paid in, whatever you call that.
The perf.
Should be though.
That needs to be corrected and backed up until last October. I'd really like to see at least a chief deputy be reclassified as full-time to where she could qualify for county benefits. Some of you know, some of you don't. Stephanie had a bad shoulder when she started with me. And we had a little incident one night and she finished tearing her shoulder out. She's been off the last 2 months. Now she's still coming out and helping me what she can. But I can't let her work cases by herself because that shoulder is going to have to be immobilized probably for close to a year. So that puts all that off on me. But she's making up for it in the paperwork and stuff. I mean, she's well learning what she's doing. But that's really the biggest thing I'd like to see adjusted is get the coroner's benefits right where they should be. And you've got what I've asked for on the pays and I sat down with Dr. Ralston. You know, I'm trying to do things a whole lot different than's ever been done in this county. And I'm depending on my pathologist awful heavy. I'm not a doctor, never claimed to be. A lot of these tox reports and stuff come back into me. I don't know what I'm looking at, you know. So even the cases that Dr. Ralston doesn't do autopsies, he's still helping get me to the right answer of the cause of death on them. And I'm not satisfied with doing the sudden cardiac death on everybody. I want to know what killed people. And a lot of these, the only way you can do it's autopsy. And if you look at somebody and you think it's most likely going to be a drug overdose, you know, you've got the drugs laying there, powder still in the nose. I'm not going to autopsy that. I'm going to wait for my tox to come in. And occasionally that can really bite me in the butt, because when that tox comes in, there ain't enough in them to kill them. Now what do I do? That's when I have to lean on Dr. Ralston real heavy. You know, we're really trying to change how things have been done in this county, and that's why that reflects what it reflects.
Has Ken Irwin, could he look into that, or has he looking into that as part of his bill? Part of his JR?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is Ken Irwin, he's talking about salaries, is Ken Irwin looking into that, or could we add that to that for him to look at?
It would be probably not in this round, but remember whenever we passed it, we talked about doing the first round as the courthouse and the second being all the outline. That would be probably in this upcoming year what they would request.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, the attorney was
That's
asking me,
good. I
sorry.
remember that now.
Well, I wanted to just make everybody aware of all that. If I need to come to council meeting and discuss it, that's fine too. But, you know, most of this is stuff you're all going to have to look into, not me, because I don't know why it is the way it is.
Do we know why the perf isn't there?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Well,
I mean,
probably.
I'm sure legally he is,
Oh, yeah, I would think.
I'm certain that you're eligible for it. Stephanie, I'm not sure, but I can check into that too.
I was elected
It's
official.
probably been done that way because nobody's ever done it full-time before outside of,
But still, yeah.
Well, even if it's not
And they
full-time,
didn't
it's
care
elected
about it.
official.
But it's
Elected
still
official.
elected
You're an
official.
elected official.
well, I know, I'm just
so
saying they
I mean, I
probably
think you're
didn't care about it.
100% obligated.
Yeah, you're still.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but that'd be the best guess.
I don't know why it is the way it is. I
And that's why-
I know mine's not being paid in, and
I would recommend if we did,
I'd
get
say
it
it's
fixed and then back it up till October, because otherwise
Right.
he's gonna be short
Right.
I think we should.
time.
No, yeah, I agree.
Will you check into that one for us?
Sure will.
And maybe we'll talk about it. Can we talk about it at the August
well,
regular meeting?
Should be okay.
And then maybe
I
get
think-
it going even before.
I think when we
Yeah,
get this all figured out, if we back up to October, I think I can probably retire by about 96, maybe 98,
You're pretty close, aren't you?
getting there.
Couple weeks. I'll make it till about noon on the day of my funeral before I
But-
retire.
Back to the budget stuff. I'm asking for more in autopsies because I'm going to be doing more autopsies. Matter of fact, I'm broken autopsies now, and your all's next meeting, I'll be in there asking for more.
It's
and
not
I
broke,
asked-
There's 7,000 in it right now.
Well, and that's
Unless
the
you have
thing
an
too.
outstanding bill.
We're looking at
I
this
might have some
budget.
bills that ain't been turned in yet.
We're all looking at this budget and it has increased drastically, but it's always been taken care of by the funeral homes and stuff. So the county has really never had a lot of expense doing
Big
this.
difference.
Now we got somebody who's trying to bring it up to 2026, and it's going to be a little bit of a cost to us till we get this laid out like we are. So
Yeah. I don't-
I think we've all
I
known
don't
that
think-
for a while.
I think we have too, but just Johnny brought to our attention pretty much what boiled down to.
I don't think the people of Scott County realize how fortunate they have been for the last
Oh, absolutely.
75 years, you know.
Well, it happens, you know, however long the funeral.
Hey, not nitpicking things, but wearing apparel and uniforms, I know you bought a bunch of badges and stuff. Do you think that could go back down some?
I don't remember how much it is. How much is it?
It's on here is $1,653. Well, I know we put some money in it because you had to buy stuff to get you guys up and going. But once you got it, I think maintaining it would be cheaper, right?
He's got on there twice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
I've seen
down
that.
at 6 grand.
There's
JR,
6,000.
I honestly, I can't think of anything right now that we're gonna need.
Right.
And the good thing about my budgets, it just returns to you if we don't use it. I mean, I don't think it would,
I'm just trying to free up money.
I about think I could live without it altogether this year,
Well,
if need be,
What if we
you
put
know.
500 in it? If you had to have something, you'd have something there.
I think that would be
That'd be
fine.
fair.
And y'all know I'm not too good to come back and ask for more if I need it.
Which line are we looking at?
Well,
Yeah,
there's
that's what I
two
was
wearing
saying.
apparel uniform. I don't know why there's two.
Do you know that? Why there's two? There's wearing apparel and uniform for 1653, and there's a wearing apparel and uniform for 6,000. So total, it's 7,653.
I don't know, but I'll take that 6,000 any day of the week. I'm gonna say a mistake.
The 6,000 is, I think that's where you had it as equipment line, wasn't it? Is what
Might be.
I think it might just be mislabeled on
it
there.
is.
Because
I think
the
so,
only
too.
thing I can think of
Because
that
the
I
numbers,
asked
the
for.
account
It is.
numbers are different
If you
too.
look
That's
on
gotta
the
be your, that's gotta be. your,
If you look on your users, it's under equipment.
The
That
30.
number is under equipment.
Well,
So it's just labeled wrong.
I'd say she just typed it wrong.
I'm serious.
The 6,000 is equipment. It's not wearing apparel.
Oh, it's,
uniform.
okay.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
the
even,
number
it's
is.
the
All right,
right
let's go
number.
with that one.
All right.
But
On equipment.
But on equipment, is that gas and
No,
No,
the
that's-
equipment line item I have is for stuff out in the coroner's office. And if you look at it now, I've not spent none of it yet, but that's because I still owe for my body slide that we put into the back of the Durango
I see.
last weekend.
I didn't see floor maintenance, I'm sorry.
And I'm getting ready to order the body tray racks that goes in the cooler. Every dime of that'll be gone, and
Go back to what's this?
I won't
Yeah.
have enough money to buy the trays with. I was supposed to went Monday and tried to bought some used ones, but I wasn't able to go. So what my thought was, if you fund, leave what I've got in there, just know it is spent. It's still there, but it's spent.
For this year.
And then for next year, if you fund that line the same, I think we can finish getting the last of everything. We still need 6 body trays out there. And I need one of those little crane things, you know, where you can lift a body by yourself if need be.
You said the EMS had them though, didn't you? EMS has got the body trays that you can
I
lift.
believe Tim Borden does.
Okay.
I was supposed to go down there and look and see what he has.
So he has body trays. I'm talking about the mover that you're
Oh,
talking
no,
about.
no, they don't.
EMS, I thought they had 2 over there that was broke. We were gonna.
No,
look at
no,
that.
that's, what I was talking about there is the gurneys that I use in my body cooler. 2 of those are old EMS ones.
Okay.
They were battery operated and I don't know, whatever went bad on them. Well, you pull them up, you put a heavy guy on it, you go in the morning, it's on the ground.
Well,
You know,
like I
it
said,
just
we're-
settles down, and both of them's like
We were
that.
gonna look at the hydraulic cylinders and stuff on it.
Well,
We could repair
What I was gonna do, I'm wanting to get my cooler to where it'll hold 6 people. That's, you remember the racks I was talking to you about? What my plan is to get 3 of them, get rid of them old EMS stretchers. The one, the last stretcher I've got will be moved to the back of the Durango. That's gonna be my stretcher for the back of it. So nothing's getting thrown away, everything's being
them. We
utilized.
had talked about though on the lifts, making them to where and all the way down was gonna get the bottom rack and all the way up was gonna get the top rack.
Well, I was talking about on the gurney,
Okay.
like if I bring somebody in out of the Durango, I don't wanna have to try to stop that thing halfway, because it's not designed for that, it's either up or down. So I was gonna try to get them made to where, when I let that all the way down, it'd be just a flat slide over to it, and have them made tall enough, when it's all the way up, it's an easy slide off of it. That way you're not trying to stop that thing in the middle somewhere. The one I've got that's going in the back of the Durango, it's a manual, you know, it's just like what Bordens use, you know, and there's no good way to stop them in the middle.
You know, when you pull that handle, they go down.
Yeah,
The body bags, that 2,000, is that a good number?
I think that'll still be great because I'll be happy to tell this one, I just got another grant from the Indiana Department of Health. We're gonna have body bags now for infants, small ones for, you know, small children, and we're gonna have aquatic body bags. I guess that's the first ones we've ever had in Scott County, and I can tell you, I personally have needed them twice, but we've done without them. But that all come through that grant from the Department of Health. And that's a program to encourage coroner's offices to work together with the state health department with sharing information and stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
The training, you're asking for $5,000 more on it, but you got 2,000.
I've got 2,000. I've not been able to spend it yet, but you remember we had in the wrong, what?
Yeah, it said training.
I still hope to have it spent before the end of the year. Cause there is some more trainings coming up, and we just had one, guy passed away. We had to ID him with DNA. I am not certified to take DNA from live people. I can send all the DNA I want to the state crime lab off of dead people, and it's all great. But if I take my samples off of you, when I send them to the state police, they throw them in the trash. So the sheriff's department sent one of their detectives all the way to Nashville, Tennessee to get DNA samples from mother or dad, and then had to stop in Bowling Green, Kentucky to get DNA samples from mom. And they didn't have to do that. You know, I could have very well had to go to Floyd County or something and hired somebody to go do that. Well, once I finish these trainings, I will get that certification, and I won't have to be begging everybody else to do my job for me. So the trainings are real important. People don't realize how this job has changed a lot in the last 20 years, 25, and Scott County's done nothing to keep up with it. I'm trying to change that.
I guess my question is, do you think the 2,000 is closer to what you need, or you need 7,000 a year?
Well, I just got 2 for this year. And if I get it spent, I think I just asked for 5 for next year, didn't I?
7.
7?
I'll go 5.
Well, and we'd probably be okay with that. You know, we might even be okay with the 2. You know, if you want to put it at 2 and something comes up that's, I think, is vitally important to us, I can always come in and ask for, hey guys, you know, this come up, and I'd really like to go. You know, Jerry had let all of his, when he left the coroner's office, quit being the coroner, he let all his stuff go. He was not interested in doing it anymore. So anything that he needs, we're going to have to redo for him. I don't think he's terribly interested in doing a lot of it. But Stephanie's as interested in this work as I am. She will take every minute's training anybody wants to give her. And to me, that's real good for the county.
And on autopsies, you're at 40,000 now, spent 32.2. You say you got a bill, or one bill or more?
If my math's right now, I'm about $800 over. If my math's right.
On that.
On autopsies right now. And that's through basically the end of June. I haven't done any July bills yet.
You think 50,000 would be a decent starting point on it for a 27 year? And it's hard to guess. I mean,
It is, because,
you
you
could
know,
have to
but-
do a
but
bunch and you could get by months with none. I understand.
if you want to set it at 50 and next July I'm out of money, just like this year, I'll come back and say I need more, you know.
And I think
I'm not bashful.
that's what Collins was saying, is like, it's gonna take a little bit for us to figure out exactly kind of where we need to be. What
Well,
is normal.
It's gonna take me a while to figure out where I need to be out there. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But I also understand your side of it is like, well, if you put 70 in there and I don't spend it, you get it back. Problem is,
Right.
I got 20 grand tied up for 12 months that I could use
I
somewhere
sat
else.
behind that desk
I
plenty
know,
long
I know.
enough. I've done
I know.
3 of these weekends.
I
And
know. And you did good things, and I'm not trying to, I don't want you to think I'm beating you to death over money.
You're
I'm trying to figure out what's midline that we're gonna need.
Can
to
we
run
say
that.
5 for training and then
Correct.
50 for autopsy, and you can always come back for your one?
Absolutely. You know, you guys are in control of that budget, just like I was with you sitting there last year. And if you remember, I'm not too good to cut anything. Every one of you know how hard I was on a budget.
One question I have is your fuel and maintenance, which I know you had to do a little bit more maintenance to the vehicle that you just got. I understand that, but is 3,500 going to be enough for next year for your fuel and maintenance? Start with that, or, you know.
You got 55 is what you had. According to this, unless, I don't know what bills you got, but you've spent 1725 and you got 3774 in there right now.
So I think your budget was more last year and you only asked for 35 this year.
That's wrong, because my fuel and maintenance budget started at $3,500 this year.
All it shows in here is an additional appropriation of 5,500. And then.
Well, maybe I got
spent-
more there than that's where I came in the other day and asked for that,
2,000.
the additional, because right now I've got a balance in there of about $1,900.
Because
Give
there
or
is no
take.
fuel and maintenance from last year anyway. There was no thing,
We
nothing.
added that.
The,
We
yeah,
got
there's
the
nothing
car.
budgeted.
He got that vehicle in like January or February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, his budget, it shows nothing from last year.
Well, like,
I think y'all can answer that question so they find out how long it's gonna take Trump to turn Iran into glass.
I like that idea. The other day, I was going down 65. Ain't nothing I can do about this. That Durango's never squeaked or squealed or never made a noise. I was between Austin and Scottsburg, and well, you can see the little ding in the hood. The tensioner on the belt blew apart. I couldn't foresee that because, you know, and that's probably a couple $100.
I don't know.
But-
Is that $2,000 bill already turned in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not paid yet, or I don't think it is.
I was gonna say, he's still showing he's got 37.
Yeah, okay, it ain't been paid yet. So.
So if we take 2 off that, it leaves you with
Yeah.
17 something.
So 35 is probably
35 probably.
gonna be a close number then.
I
just
think,
didn't know how much you
I
had.
think $3,500 because I've got that thing in excellent shape now.
Not if it just blew apart.
You know, now that I couldn't foresee that.
Just messing.
But, you know, you're talking an oil change or 2 a year in fuel. That's,
Fuel.
uh,
Or maybe a set of tires or something.
well, Nick put brand new ones on it right before he gave it to me. Them
Right.
tires those tires, without I hit something and bust, one of them's gonna outlive me.
And you said on the mileage, it was only what, 80,000 you said on there, or 75,000 on that?
No, like 74, 73.
So it's
yeah,
way under 100,000, so, okay.
Yeah,
So it's got many more miles left on it.
Not
Many.
It's ripping up and down the highway.
it's a good thing I didn't charge you a toll bill for coming after me.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
No,
But
I totally think everybody sitting on this table is
I would,
understanding it has to have some money in this department.
outside of the salaries, I think we've done pretty well with the budget we've had out there this year. You know, the body bag's been at $2,000. Honestly, the odds are I'm not gonna need all that. You know,
Spent all of it but $4.80.
well, it's because they're stacked up out there. That's why I don't know we'll need it next, you know, but,
Do you use the postage?
uh,
And here's why I asked before you answer. I talked to Michelle Shelton because she has the machine you run stuff through. And I just wonder if some of the, I don't want to call you a smaller department, but the reality is it's a smaller department, like VA, coroner, some of them, would it be easier to add more money to her postage and just let them, if you needed to mail a thing or two, drop it there?
but I'll tell you what I done. I bought a roll of stamps, put them in my desk drawer. I think I've used 4 of them, I think.
I can't imagine you mail a whole lot of things.
No, I don't. You know, a lady lived down in Florida, asked me if I could mail her a death, or not death certificate, the autopsy report and toxicology on her son. I said, well, sure. So I took my little roll of stamps, went up to the post office, and they weighed it up for me, and I think I put 4 on it.
I mean, you know how it was sitting here. You go through
Oh,
everything.
absolutely.
If you could save 100 out of the budget here and there, and move it to someone else that maybe, I don't know what else to do.
I can tell you, you can have that $120, I think, and I've got a whole book of stamps minus
Get you
4. Or I think I can get by.
Other than that, yeah, I think the budget's been, you've done a lot of work out there. There's no denying that.
I'll probably leave a little bit in there because stamps are going to go 4 cents. With his
Yeah.
stamps, he's got to be obsolete.
No, you buy them forever stamps.
Now you got to put 2 of them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a roll of them. They
On the-
call them forever stamps. They
On
don't
the
ever go away.
salaries, the special deputy was at 2,500. It still shows you haven't used it. It's in there.
The deputy coroner's pays, and that's something else I needed to ask you.
That's
guys.
the number 3.
Well, the number 2 and the number 3 don't pay out until the end of the year. The reason a little bit has been used out of the number 2, she got overlooked last year. At the end of the year, she didn't get paid out until the money had already returned or whatever. So you guys approved paying her out of that.
So how, they don't get like a money for hours worked? They just have to wait.
Nope. Our, all 3 of ours are straight salary. And
God forbid you quit or something happened to you before the end of the year. you
well,
lose money.
you just figure it out. I mean, that's how we done when I took over, you know, Brighton had worked up till October the 18th. We figured that many days, he got that much, and however many days was left, I got that much.
Well,
Yeah,
on the
that's rocket
special
science.
deputy, do you think leaving it at 2,500 is fair? Or will you think
Absolutely not.
you'll use that?
Jerry is putting in 15, 20 hours some weeks. Jerry's the one doing all of our, the downloading all this stuff onto the drive system. The state's trying to go completely away from paper, which I hate. But when we get all these, records from doctors' offices and stuff, the first thing we have to do when we're working a case is, you know, of course, we get the body in the cooler. Then we have to find out who all the doctors is on this guy. We have to send them, you know, request for information to them. We get that information, and all this stuff has to happen quick, guys, because I can't hold that guy for 2 weeks while I'm trying to mess around with the doctor. And if a doctor says, I'm not going to sign the death certificate, because that's the first thing we always beg them to do. And if they won't, then we have to start drawing medical records together. And once we get all that information together, if I can't read through it and determine, you know, this guy had this, this, and this, really, autopsy is your next, I mean, that's all you can do. Or hang you a dartboard on the wall, throw a dart at it for cause of death.
Wouldn't we be better to assign an hourly rate to these and work them like everybody? That seems really weird to me.
There is no way you can afford to put an hourly wage on us. If you pay us minimum wage, you're gonna be upside down, trust me.
So you just work for,
Like tonight. I didn't leave the coroner's office last night till 11:30. I was out there doing paperwork, trying to get caught up. Today, I go to one of the meetings at noon and I find out I've not got the Scottsburg Police Department. I thought they got the same information I did. Well, they're waiting on me for information that I didn't know I needed to be sending. So tonight, I'll be out there till probably midnight again, trying to get everything Steve needs together so he can close his cases. I guess that sounds kind of stupid, but I never realized that I needed to send that to the Sheriff's Department, Austin, Scottsburg Police Department. If they're working the case, I need to send that to them. Well, occasionally somebody will call me and say, hey, can you send me whatever on this case? And I send it to them. Well, talking to Steve out there earlier, I didn't realize he can't close his cases down until he has that on every one of them. So I'm gonna go out tonight. That's what I'll be working on.
so what do you guys want to do? You want to leave the 10,000 on the number 3?
Well, I think we all need to dive in with all the numbers, but everything looks good to me on everything. Looks pretty fair, so.
That sounds so long.
I don't think it's out of line enough.
No, I don't. I'm not saying that.
Not that I can do what Jerry's doing. You know, eventually I'll learn a lot of that stuff and get better at it. But right now, Jerry is putting in a tremendous amount of work for what he's getting paid.
You're being
Yeah.
called computer and literate.
And we're, you know,
I don't deny that. I just think it's crazy to me. I mean, like we just talked transfer station.
Right.
Who in their right mind will go work the transfer station, me telling them I'll pay them December 31st? That's not.
well, the 2 years I was deputy coroner, that's the way
Same way.
it was in. Yeah, it's always been that way.
Can we change it to like quarterly?
Well,
At least give them something.
I think at the time, JR, it was because it was, when I done the deputy coroner, it's $1,900.
Right.
And I think that's why, because it wasn't all that much and it's just easier just do it all at once.
But now you're
Well,
getting into some money.
Right. Somebody's getting a $20,000 check at the end of the year.
That's gonna get.
Yeah,
a hell of a
that'd be
hit from
sweet.
Taxes.
But, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind to have it $5,000 a quarter.
That's
you
what
know?
I was saying. Maybe do it quarterly.
And that doesn't matter to me how we do it. I would personally rather see it done by the quarters, you know,
Is
but
that possible?
I don't know how
Or does
much-
that mess you guys up?
It'd be possible, but I've got the feeling the quarterly could be harder than a regular paycheck. I don't think there's anything else right now that we pay quarterly,
Right.
unless it's a voucher.
yeah.
Now, if you wanted to turn in a voucher,
Well,
we could do it that
What
way.
if you even done that? If you broke it down into just normal pay periods?
It could be done.
20,000 paid out every 2 weeks or whatever.
We could do that, yeah.
I think that way there, it'd be easier, it'd be better on them on their taxes, because you get a $20,000 check.
You're gonna get a heck of a
They're gonna
hit.
get taxed harder on that than they are just by doing every 2 weeks or every month check, as far as that goes.
Well, that, and I mean, he's got great people working for him. God forbid, we're planning, changing for the future. The next person in your shoes, I mean,
Might not be as fortunate. And, you know, that could make the difference. If you take somebody that's got a real interest in that work out there, but they don't have the finances
to do it.
to carry that for a year, I could see that being a problem. You know, thus far, we've been really lucky and,
Right. I think that's something, with this one, I think it's something we definitely have to look at. And I understand
I
why.
mean, let us know. We could do that. That wouldn't be hard to put that on a payroll.
But you could take that 20,000 to figure out what that's gonna be every 2 weeks and just
Yeah.
make that be a check and then go on from there.
yeah, I think that'd be fine.
The
But
check
when I-
on
when I
benefits
come-
For the first two. and then-
When I come to the next council meeting for the autopsy money, I figured I would present where we paid Stephanie the end of last year you know, we need to put, I don't know, $1,600 or whatever it is back into that line item.
That line shows it was paid $1,023.70.
Okay, well, that's how much we need to pay
That's what we
back
paid
into it,
last year.
because it should have been exactly $10,000, but where she didn't get paid last year, and the money was all closed already or whatever, it was an oversight, probably as much on me and Stephanie as it was anybody. You know, I didn't think to call and say, hey, you know, but that is something I'm gonna have to come back for. But any of them that you think are unreasonable, unnecessary, whatever you want to call it, and you need to cut them. Guys, I'm not bashful. I will come back if I need it.
I don't think anybody's saying what you're asking for is unreasonable or whatever. I know that I don't want to surprise you and be like, hey, we're
Well,
cutting
you
this
look,
in half and not at least talk about it.
you look at 3 lines here that you can, you know, like I said, on the uniforms and then on the training and autopsies, if you just take them back to what we talked about, that's gonna be the savings right there and the difference. you know, that makes
And
it
I'm
fair.
okay with that,
And
you
then
know.
you can always ask for more if you need it, so.
I'm doing more autopsies than's ever been done. But I sat down about a month ago with Dr. Ralston, and I asked him, I said, Doc, do you feel I have done any autopsies that we shouldn't have?
He said, no, you keep paying me.
You know, I don't think he
No,
cares.
I know what you mean.
And the hours he puts in helping me with the cases that he doesn't do, and he told me, he said, John, I really don't think so, because he said, you're still having to call me an awful lot on the ones that you're just doing talks on. You know, because I don't know in what combinations, you know, if you have a toxicology report has a whole, like 3 different lines of numbers, and here's how much is in you. Here's how much they say should be normally in you, because some things in your body's natural. And then over here's what it takes to kill you. Well, if it says it takes 500 of this to kill you and you're at 410, that's not an overdose. And then you look down here and there's another one that's at 50 and it takes 60 to OD you. And you got another one that's on 100 and it takes 80 to OD you. When you combine them 3, would that be fatal? You know, this is the questions that I asked Doc, and he'll look, you know, because he can see everything I can see on his computer. He'll go, usually kind of laughs at me and says, oh yeah, there's your cause of death right there. But and then we have to put it onto the death certificate and stuff. You know, you always have to have a primary cause of death, and then you can list contributing factors. And I lean awful hard on him. And the doctors out at the hospital, you know, I'll walk up there and talk to them. A lot of times they can help me and I don't have to call them. Anything else you got for me?
No, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
Hey, one question. If she doesn't get paid till the end of the year, do you want to wait till closer to the end of the year and see if there's money we could transfer rather than doing an additional with the advertising?
What's that now?
If we don't pay out the deputy coroner right now, instead of coming to the August meeting for an additional, why don't we wait till later in the year? Let's see if there's any lines we could transfer that from that may be left over.
That's fine by me.
Then if not, then we'll do it. And that'll just save.
As
I hate to do
long
that.
as we get it fixed before the end of the year,
right.
Stephanie, don't.
I would just
worry.
hate to do the additional and then end
Yeah,
up
she's coming in.
you return.
EMS is planning on-
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
You good with that?
EMS something
I'm
that-
I
perfectly
just
good
called-
with that.
I just text Tanya because I didn't know what else was coming in.
I like it.
Supposed to
There's
be
no one
here
else coming in between him and her.
Well,
EMS is coming
You
back
done
here.
with me?
Yes,
I
sir.
guess.
EMS is coming
Thank you.
back.
Well, they-
Who's next?
Next up, I don't know. I think we got a break. Anybody need the bathroom?
You on the stretch.
Not bathroom, but stretch. What you
I'm afraid if I stretch, I'll pee my pants.
Shut that off during the break, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to mute it, just take a break.
You're good.
Back from a needed restroom break. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Not bad, sir.
She handed out these budget, for proposed budgets, it's the same thing as every year. Essentially, just different information, what the district does and how we spend the money. And this year, we've asked for $45,000 for her salary and $10,000 for the operating expenses, which I think we've asked for in the past, instead of 5. Then the back page of this handout are salaries of the district coordinator in comparable sized counties. Several different ones, as you can see, where, Scott County's the lowest paid. So it's just some good information to consider. We got a little raise this year, which was great, but always asking for more.
Well, first of all, I apologize for the raise issue because we had to fix that for you, and I'm sorry that
That was part of my fault.
it's definitely John Collins' fault. for
Fine, I'll
everybody
take,
watching,
I
but,
got big shoulders. I didn't
no,
get
it-
to talk to John.
It's all of our fault. We overlooked that office being part of the county because it's.
But you
easy to
guys do
do.
good
We don't
service.
see you guys very much, even though you're a very important part of the county, and so.
Try to be trouble free.
So,
It ain't working.
anyway, I apologize you had to go through that, but I'm glad we got it straightened out and got you back paid and everything good. So, with that, the only question I have, the grant, and it may be a Jennifer question, do we pay it out at the end of the year, or do they get it at the beginning, or how's that
I did
work?
it about September. I'll tell you when I did it.
About September?
That's about when I did it.
When do you need it?
Huh?
When do you need it or like to have it?
I
It seems like that would almost run you beyond, September till then, you're almost.
Sooner the better, I guess, but anytime we'll take it.
Yeah, I just seen that it's still setting at 100%, so often we look at this current year budget to see how things are going, and I just, for interest, pulled it up, and I was like, well, it's still sitting there.
well, if it's sitting there, holler. They usually send me an email or give me a call and I come over and pick it up. Because one year, they didn't get the address changed when the office moved.
Right.
And it ended up coming back to me. So.
It's in there 'cause it's
I'm in there
paid.
every other week, turning in my timesheet, so.
Does it get paid on a voucher, or how?
That's what I'm not certain myself. I don't know if you guys send a voucher over or if Mandy just kind of looks at it and says that needs to
I
go.
can look the check stub up for you, Jennifer. I've got last year's.
And I can ask Mandy to find out, but I'm not certain if that is something that is just pushed out or if it's a request.
Either way, there's $5
Well,
grand there.
I thought we had
Might as
to
well
come to this to
Go
request.
get it.
This was for next year, so
Yeah, this would be for
Yeah,
Well,
27.
I requested it. at
in the
our
budget last
proposal
time,
for
so.
this year.
Yeah, your 26 is 100% sitting there in the budget, not touched.
Right.
So I would think
Right.
for us and our standpoint, we've done our part. It's there. You just got to get the money. But
Somebody gotta write you a check.
don't get it, get your check and spend it as you do.
Sounds good.
I don't think you guys are out of line on any of the requests. I don't know that we'll hit the 45, but we'll try. One of the big focuses, and you'll hear if anybody watches, this is what I said. We did a wage study with Erwin Wagner Shealy that'll kind of do what you guys did, look at areas around us. Instead of trying to tackle the entire county and all of its employees at once, we're going to focus on the ones that are in the courthouse this year, doing wage study and maybe focus. So maybe we won't get to the 45 this year, but we'll try to get you something, and then we'll add you into the group to review more stringently next year. Does that sound reasonable? I just want to be honest with you. I don't want you to think why we wouldn't do that, but I'm just being straight up that there's a lot of
And you'll
people.
put a red flag so you don't forget.
I've already red flagged, and if I am lucky enough to be here and reelected to be here, I won't forget you. So, but I know, I don't want you to think that we're cutting for no reason. I'm just, you know me, if there's something on my mind, I want you to know it. And for my vote, that's where I stand, is I've promised the people who have gone without raises for a few years and they're way out of line with other offices, that we're gonna focus hard on them. Not saying you're any less important or anything, but the outlying departments may not get as much attention in the salary department this round as they will next. If that's
So
fair.
will we get some kind of a, informational email about what the study found?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We will receive it on August the 15th.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't know, does she have a job classification too? So would it be the same?
And I think hers was sent in with the others.
Is it the COE?
I think it will be, yeah.
I mean, I think that encompasses what she does. So you may be able to be included in what we do this year. But once they come back, I think they're gonna reclassify some jobs. They're gonna probably look at some things that have changed over. We haven't done one of these in 20 years. So it's a lot of money to do it, a lot of time. But whenever we get it,
But
I'm
we
anxious
figured
to
it was the
see what it
fairest way
says.
to handle it, was to do it and let them do the
Yeah.
recommendations for us too, so we could make an honest decision for everybody.
So if they say, you know, a bookkeeper needs to be every one of them at 45 or wherever they land, then you go and look at what you have available to spend and try to meet somewhere in the middle of the best we can is our plan. So, but I think we definitely in the 2027 year need to spend some money on our most valuable asset, which is our employees, and get some of the pay ranges up that are really lagging behind because we haven't changed it drastically in a long, long time. So clear as mud, huh? But yeah, I'll send you an email and keep in contact with you and tell you kind of, I mean, I'll put it out to whoever. It's no secret. It'll be a public document. And I'm not saying that whatever they say we can match right away, but we're definitely going to have to try. We're going to have to start that road trying to get there. So, because otherwise you can't retain good employees if you can't pay them. I mean, we've lost them and I understand money's hard for everybody right now. We're no stranger to that game, but
If you look over that pamphlet, you'll see that, we actually do bring money back to the county.
Yep.
And from last year, this year, we've added $10 more to that amount. So, I mean, that's saying one thing about what we do out
Yep.
there.
The dollar for dollar amount, not
Right.
like the grand total. It's not $10.
No, I know.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what you guys do. I'll be honest with you. 4 years ago, whenever I got this position and I sat down here, I had no idea what in the world Soil and Water did or why we pay it, but I
It's
do
all
now.
about, which way life takes you.
Right,
John
I
knows
do
all
now.
about it because it's right up,
And
his program, so.
And it makes perfect sense to me. And just being able, like even the equipment you guys loan out or lease out or, or allow people to use for things is worth its weight in gold to some people. So appreciate what you do. And I don't want you to think you're forgotten, even though I have forgotten. I won't in the future. So,
I'll remind him.
yep. But
You guys have any more questions? for
I don't
us?
think so. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
coming
Thanks
by.
for having us.
Have a good
Talk
one.
to you
See
soon.
ya. Bye-bye. Mr. Nick,
Nick couldn't get enough of us.
round two.
Sorry for not bringing this up 7 hours ago, but I guess it shows.
Who are
here.
you now?
Huh? Do what?
Who are you?
Yeah. Have you guys heard Brittany yet? Okay.
She's
No.
Friday, right?
No, she's tomorrow morning,
Tomorrow
9:15,
morning.
9:15.
I know her and I had kind of briefly talked and we didn't kind of know where things were going, but the one thing that I did not budget for, because we kind of split costs right now, is for the MIH program. And I didn't know if that's something that you had an idea of where it was going. They have 92 patients. So, and I think probably your department sees it more than most of the other departments, but I mean, they're seeing 15, 17 patients a day.
Are they ever going to make that billable?
So there is a movement. Billing got a hold of us last week, end of last week, that they're starting to collect data through certain agencies and certain companies to pursue that from kind of like our discretion standpoint. I don't think there's any benefit to changing it to where it ever costs anybody a penny. You know, if they have insurance and we bill the insurance and then there's no overflow to them, I'm fine with that. But it defeats the purpose of the program to make any of the patients on the program have to pay anything, because they'll all stop. I mean, a lot of the patients that we see wouldn't be able to afford it. And
No,
again,
I agree with that. I just think if you're, I don't even know how to word it, the frequently seen patients, I guess.
and I will say
stops
for,
the flow to the hospital.
I will attest to this wholeheartedly. The frequent flyers that you're referring to, it has drastically impeded some of that.
And I think there's huge impacts to
Mhm.
anybody.
Yeah.
Even some of my extended family has used that service and speak highly of it. Ultimately, I understand it comes down to the dollar
Yep.
factor, but if you could offset some, I think it would be great. And like you said, if you don't have, sorry, I'm just looking off into space.
Making sure I'm not going to get shot or anything.
Nah, but if you do, I'll talk to you, paramedics.
That's fine.
But if they have insurance, yeah, why can't we bill that? If you don't, then I don't think we send a patient a bill that obviously they can't pay, or they would have went to the doctor to begin with.
Yeah, they've actually started requesting that we start like asking these patients for their insurance information, and not like a full in-depth, but more of carrier and like group type, just so they can start compiling, you know, what the most abundant or frequent or, you know, in our area is. Because I will say for our area, we are the biggest program by far.
Oh yeah, I'd say
Than Clark or Harrison or Floyd or
South of US 50, we probably are.
I would get closer to Indy, honestly. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, once you get into the Indy, Greenwood, Fishers, Noblesville area, yeah, they're killing it up there. But they also they've got a $32 million budget for their service, so it's a little different.
They have to be offsetting the same, you know, frequently seen people
Yeah.
that we do.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, and beyond that aspect, I mean, there's a lot of patients that weren't frequent flyers, but they're visiting daily and weekly and monthly. You know, they've got.
Does Brittany have a portion of it, or she does not?
I think it's going to depend on what happens here. I know that, you know, there was, from my understanding, there was a lot of money in some buckets, and then the state changed it. Yeah. And I don't know how that's going to fall and how that's going to affect her stuff. Because I mean, we're to the point, patient capacity wise and time of day, we need a second crew, but that's not even something I'm pursuing, just because we're capped out on patients. But it's hard to say, hey, let's spend another $120,000 a year for personnel when it's bringing in zero. I mean, I can't really come in here and ask for that, but at the same time, losing the program that we've established and built for.
Tough too, because that is employees that you have.
It's not just employees can be moved type deal, but it's more of the 92 patients that they see that they've seen for years now.
Well, and then what happens? Because those 92 people are used to it. They're going to call for an ambulance. Clogs up the 911 center.
Vicious circle.
I mean, it truly is.
So
I did portion that you had. Is it still good? Are you still good on it? Or
so I cover all medical supplies, all fuel, all maintenance, all vehicle, all everything. So and all benefit stuff.
She covers the personnel.
She covers the 2 payrolls, and then I cover everything else. So between the vehicle, fuel, the fuel's a big one, because I mean they're putting on hundreds of miles a week. Medical supplies and all that, I'd say on the grand scheme, she's probably a little bit more, but we're close to even on that.
Speaking of fuel in a different aspect, how does you buying bulk fuel, is it a good or bad, or what's your feelings on it? The reason I ask is we talked to the sheriff about fuel and like the option of buying bulk fuel, but is it better or not?
I mean, we still buy bulk fuel. I mean, from a convenience aspect, there's that, because, you know, if we need fuel, we're not having to leave station to drive to a gas station to deal with, it's not tying us up there. Inherently, it's typically been cheaper. I mean, just because we have the WEX as a backup, or, you know, if they do a long distance and they need fuel between here and there, they've got to fill up. Or if we're running low, like, you know, we'll say, hey, while you're out, use the gas pump so we don't, you know, drain our tanks here or whatever. So we probably spend maybe $200 or $300 a month on WEX, which, you know, one of our tanks is a couple $100 worth. So it's not a lot, but we get filled up with diesel and fuel and gas once a week. It saves us money.
What's that run, roughly? I mean, I'm not getting you to the penny, just when they come fill it up, what's that cost?
About anywhere from $1,200 to $1,600 a week between the two. Yeah.
Do you guys lock in your price at a contract like this?
Sometimes we do. We did not this year because at the beginning of the year, fuel prices were
Gotcha.
like $6 something, close to $6 something for diesel, and, you know, close to $4 for gas. We did not lock it in this year. We've been riding the wave. But even so, like, if we're comparing, like, if we take today's gas pump rate and our delivery rate, it's still typically cheaper. So
I don't mean to put you guys on the spot.
no, you're fine. We got it here.
I'm
So
just thinking outside the box, because
we just got 166 gallons of unleaded, and we paid $3.30 a gallon. But that was for,
plus you get the taxes off the top. Right?
correct. We don't have to deal with the whole tax credit thing and get reimbursed, because we used to use that where, you know, they would give us taxes back, but then we would pay half of what we got back, and then that was an expense that, you know, we'd get $1,000 back, but we'd pay $500 to get the $1,000 back, and it was cumbersome to deal with because we'd take a deposit but then send money out for it.
What company do you use?
Premier out of Jackson County. And then
I
is
just
our
know,
diesel
like,
one on here?
And granted, this is apples and oranges, because ambulances versus police cars, but like the sheriff's department's knocking on the door of $100,000 of fuel already. So that's
and then we're
expense.
we paid $1,200 for 240 gallons of diesel. So $4.27 a gallon.
Still $1 cheaper than pump price.
Yeah. So, but then, I mean, which I will say, it's fluid that, you know, 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was paying like $4 for diesel for like 2 days, that was really exciting. If we got a delivery on one of those days, we're going to be paying less than that. But then, you know, again, Labor Day comes up and we're going to be paying $5 so that's the downfall of being not locked in. But it didn't make sense to lock us in, because if we would have locked in at the beginning of the year, we would be paying more than we are now. A month ago we paid $2.99. So, but I know you and I have had this discussion. I think the hard part would be, like, if the whole county went bulk, would be like, is county going to stop by my station to use my fuel? And then how are we going to track? And then if they stop and use my fuel and then we're out, now we have to track. It becomes cumbersome.
Like, we share a fuel pump down south with a lot of people.
Yep.
And it is cumbersome.
Yeah.
Ours is at the street department, and everybody has key fobs that
Track
per department and
I think that would
transaction.
I think that would put probably the burden on her office or somebody's office to navigate that fuel use, to say, all right, you know, John's department use this, other John's department use this, and then send. Do they then just pull that from what we've been budgeted, or then do we have to fill out a claim, or how would that work? I do think monetarily it's cheaper, even if each department got their own bulk and just used that, and we got on a contract for, you know, whoever it is, whether it's Bishops or Premier or whoever, and they delivered to the entire county, but you use your tank, I use my tank, but we might be, you know, if they're delivering 1,000 or 2,000 gallons a week, get a better rate on it. But that would be my only thing is, you know, are we going to rob Peter to pay Paul when we're out and about type deal?
Or somebody runs out and still keep going and getting gas and they don't have no money.
Yep.
I can see that. Which I guess at that point, Andrew just shuts your mouths off.
Watch for high usages, I guess. No, I think we're going to be okay on our fuel budget this year for sure. It's going to go up during the summer like it always does. Like I said, we're probably averaging 12 to 15, but in the summer we're from 15 to 2 a week. And then it'll go down in the winter.
Well, back to what you were talking about while we were talking fuel, I looked up, I think where I'm at is under the health department. Paramedic, the EMS paramedic is budgeted at 104. And then the EMS part-time paramedic is at like 10,000 some change.
Mm-hmm.
So those two costs, but then they also have, we got to figure the FICA and PERF insurance, all that.
I pay that.
You pay that. So all they have is literally their hourly rate is what she pays.
Yeah, from my understanding, FICA and PERFs rolled into mine.
I think so.
Okay. So we're talking.
That's from my understanding.
So until we talk to her more.
Yep.
Should we, and I'll dive into it more with her, but roughly for sake of
Just call it
math,
120,000 to be safe.
120.
100 and even, 120, 130 to be safe.
About what we're looking at.
Yep. Because that's the vehicle that I had purchased end of last year was for MIH. Like I said, I pay for all their fuel, all the medical supplies we use, which that cost has gotten up more, but everything else is covered by us. That's right, isn't it, Jennifer? We put like the PERF and FICA and all that come out of mine.
I think it does. I will double check with Trina to make
So,
sure. I think it does.
Just with 92 patients, $1,300 a person or a patient. It'd cost you more than that to send the ambulance out there by the time you figure the traffic into or to 911, you ambulance blazing through town, the risk of
Scottsburg and Scottsburg back down.
92 patients a week.
a week.
Not 92 patients a week.
That's way more than that.
So do 92 times 52. So you're looking at 40.
4,784 people. $25 a person. I don't know anywhere else you could get service for that price.
So, and I mean, if we do end up billing, I know it'll be small. It'll probably in that $20 to $50 a visit day, but even at $25, we'll be close to breaking even.
Which is all we would ask for anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's no intention to make money off that program at all. I mean, that's one of those things that is respectfully, as small of a county this is, we're offering a caliber of service that even your top 15 counties in the state aren't offering. So
I think the realistic part of that program is for $25 a stop, you're saving an ambulance being tied up, a 911
Dispatch,
center being tied up,
fire,
fire,
police.
Hospital, police if they show up,
Transfer.
like all of that stays available. Yeah, because you take them in there and let's just be honest, hospitals see the frequent flyer. I'm gonna ship them to U of L. I ain't got to see them the rest of the weekend. You and I both know that's how it works.
No comment.
And you don't have to comment. I'm the one I'll get myself in trouble, but that's the reality of it. And for $25, I don't.
Well, your car you're using is a whole lot cheaper to operate than ambulances.
Oh yeah, I mean, we bought that vehicle used.
Ambulance and everything else.
Yeah, we bought the vehicle used, and then obviously that's getting way better than 6 miles to the gallon.
Johnny White said you gave him a lemon.
Yep. a free lemon.
Just kidding.
Make lemon meringue, I guess.
It
Still,
had new tires though.
Yeah.
it did have new tires.
It
It had some meaty, beefy tires.
The best part, and I'm sure he'll crack on me, but he said here where you're at talking, and he said, that vehicle's good as a new one. And he literally just got done the breath before saying he was driving down the interstate and the serpentine belt blew apart and put a dent in the hood or something. I said, yeah, it's good as a new one.
It'll buff. I guess.
All through the radio.
But
Well, that's
I can't for me sit here and say 100% yes.
no. I just
But when I see revenue, it definitely would be on the high part of my priority list to look at to try to fund, because I know how valuable it is to the county. But I know it's $120,000 also.
yeah. And I just didn't know if it was something that I needed to cut on my end because it's I mean that program's 5 years in the making to get to where we're at. Like we didn't just start it a fly by night thing. I mean, this is going back to when we were grant funded for.
And that's the kick in the teeth is the state likes to throw out grants. You start a program that's making good progress, and then all of a sudden they just, which we knew it had an end date.
Mhm.
I'm not cracking on
No.
that, but once you see from the state level you're getting results, why not?
Well,
up that?
and we were fortunate enough that, the startup cost initially got absorbed of the certifications and the equipment and all of that that was absorbed. Now it's just a maintainment cost of pretty much the people and the equipment. And that's good.
Jennifer was there, John Lisby was there. There was a meeting at the health department. I think
Yeah.
you guys were there. We talked in depth about this and talked about, options for pay or billing and options for the state health, to start beating the drum of
Mhm.
maybe grants or something, some funding coming that way. Obviously, they're not going to make any changes between now and 27.
No.
So I don't know that the county could fund it long term,
Right.
but I think it's definitely worth putting on the radar to try to get through a year and see if we can't get the state to help somehow, or at least agree that we could charge a minimal fee
Yeah.
to go there.
And even talking to our billing department, I will be surprised by that if by January 1st of 28, there's not something in place, at least for your Medicare, Medicaid patients. Because it's going to, you're like you're saying, even if we visit them every week for 52 weeks at $25 a day, we're still saving Medicare, Medicaid after 2 hospital visits in the year. We've saved them money.
Well, and that's got to be a pretty large chunk of the patients you see is Medicare, Medicaid.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, our county is 68%. So I mean, just by default, I mean we're there. So, again, I'm not legislation. I can't speak for them, but I know that in Colorado, they found a way to bill for it, and they have been this year.
I
So
think it's doable. It's just a matter of getting the ability to do it, and hopefully, if we could find a way to fund it for 27, and like you said, maybe by 28, you could build minimal use is all we're looking for to just break even.
yeah, and I mean I just didn't know if there was stuff that I needed to sacrifice on our end, service side end, to keep that, because I know, like I said, with having 92 patients a week, that would be a lot of mad people. I mean, and that's not, I'm not here to say that. I'm trying to circumvent the failure of a program that we've built over 5 years because of that.
For me, I'm not at the point of saying you got to give something up to keep it A or B. I think we need to keep it, but maybe towards the end of this budgeting, if we're, scraping the bottom of the barrel, then maybe you and Brittany and all of us sit down and put our heads together and figure out how we keep it.
Okay. I didn't want it forgotten about. And I know Brittany wouldn't let it be forgotten about, but I didn't want to be left in the dark and then get called back and be like, hey, for this to happen, you lose this. I didn't want to be caught off guard like that. Like I said, 7 hours ago, I made notes and then I didn't read my notes. So I forgot to bring it up then. That's it. I'm here all day.
But no, it's a priority for me for sure. I think other people here will try to figure out a way.
It seems to be on a billing cycle. If you just had like a flat rate of a $30 visit or a $25 visit, like a copay to just cover your cost, I think people would do that.
I think some could afford it, but like I said, you've got the same patient. Some of the same patients are being visited every week. So that even if it's $30 a day, or $30 a visit, that turns into $120, $150 a month. And you're on a fixed income. That's 15 to 17% of your monthly income. I couldn't expect them to pay that. And I don't want to transition this going from a free program, getting all these people, and then trying to charge a fee. Because I mean,
That isn't even close to a hospital visit either.
Hmm?
That isn't even close to one hospital visit though. For what they
a hospital visit,
If what they would spend for 1 week, that's not even close to what
a week, you're talking $10,000 to $15,000 admitted in a
That's
hospital.
what I'm saying. I'm saying we spend 150 or 150.
Yeah.
That's
But
all I'm saying.
the problem is with a lot of those patients, Medicare and Medicaid's covering all that for them. Their expense isn't out of pocket, and this would be. But like I said, if we can transition where, like the meeting you guys were at, and people from the state we've talked to or our billing, even if we can get, like you're saying, some type of copay fee supplemented through an insurance company, we'd be golden, because it would, like he just did the math, $25 a visit. I'm sure no one's going to probably have a problem, even if they do that.
How do you argue that?
Yeah. So, but like I said, I just didn't want that to be, and I don't think it would be intentionally, just didn't want to be overlooked and an afterthought. As much time and effort and work has gone into this program. I mean, like I said, we're to the point that we don't have any more time slots from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday.
Let's see if we can figure out a way to squeeze it by maybe this year. Push on legislation.
Phone a friend or something. All right. I appreciate you
I'm not
guys.
ready to pull the plug on it yet.
Like I said, I just wanted to make sure there was some discussion. And if we've got to give, I don't know what we can give up, but if we've got to give up something on our end, then we did a survey 2 months ago, and I mean, I can bring you in all the stuff that
I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody against it.
No.
True. Number side or patient care side, either way, how do you argue it?
Yeah, I mean, some of it's the conversation, and some of it, like, today they went and got some prescriptions and brought them to them because they don't have transportation. And without that, how are they getting them? Or they're paying Walmart the $10, $15, $20 to deliver it, and we're not charging any of that.
Well, back when you worked the truck and I wore a uniform, there was houses we went to strictly because they wanted to see somebody and
Mhm.
talk to them.
Yep.
And that didn't change. It just, how we've changed, but those still here live and up.
Still see them.
I get it.
For sure.
Yeah, you're familiar with that. I mean, we know all their information before we get there, and we know what we're about to talk about.
Hear that address. I'll dedicate some time to fighting for it and trying to figure out a way to make it work.
Like I said, I forgot to bring it up. That's on me. And I just didn't want it to be forgotten, was all. And like I said, I know Brittany's not going to,
Right.
but I just want to make sure that it's a consideration somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. A question for the board on my end. You can go ahead and mute if you want to.
Oh, we're on mute.
Yeah,
Are we done with the
yeah.
meeting?
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn until tomorrow morning at 9
I gotta make that motion.
Motion by Miller. Second by Richie, all in favor. Adjourn until tomorrow at 9.
My question is, since we're going to have that study until August,